And you can look this up in old newspapers.
Oh, yes. No, the lesbians took over.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, July 2nd, 2015. Time once again for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 735.
This is No Agenda.
Still looking for my grandma's bike and broadcasting live from the central storage of all Russian gas and oil, Rotterdam, the Netherlands. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, not half as exciting. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Craigplot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Come on, man. Can be a little excited.
Not half as exciting.
Oh, okay. Well, I was excited.
You're in the center of the Russian compound or whatever it is.
Yeah, this is Rotterdam. Yeah, Rotterdam, the Netherlands is where, well, not all, but a large majority of Russian oil and gas goes to be stored in underground and in tanks and deep water tankers. And yeah, we love the Russians here, except when they kill our people. You know, like shoot down planes.
Yes, that's not acceptable behavior.
It's very unacceptable. So I'm here in Christina's autistic cave, as she calls it, which is the Souterrain here in Rotterdam, half underground. And I'm very happy I'm half underground because we're going through a heat wave here. And, of course, no one has air conditioning.
Huh.
Yeah.
They're going through a heat wave up in Port Angeles, Washington, too. It's like 87 yesterday.
Oh.
Here it was like 68.
We've had temperatures in the 90s and very typical, Dutch. It's like when it's cold, be like, oh man, it's so cold. And it gets warm, oh man, it's so warm. It's like they're never happy. Always something to complain about. I'm kidding you. But the farmer never happy. Farmers are in trouble. Grass is burning everywhere. They don't know what to do about it. Oh. But it's also just uncomfortable. Even though I'm in the basement, it's just warm. There's no fan. And people aren't used to this, not prepared. However, as usual on these little trips abroad, I have done my diligence and picked up a few things of the local flavor, what's going on the street.
Yes, this is what we're all interested in.
Yeah, let's start first with Taxi Eric. Now, you remember Taxi Eric. You've met him, right?
Yeah, I almost got killed.
No, he didn't kill you.
No, I said almost.
Did he almost kill you? I didn't know. No, that didn't happen.
I told you this story before. We're driving along. He's in this car, his car, and he's.
It's a Mercedes. It's a nice car.
It's Mercedes, and it's something. He had to do something, and he's got a logbook was flipped down to the floor, so he's reaching around to get it. Meanwhile, there's a huge semi truck stopped dead
on the highway.
Yeah, and he's not
bearing down on it. Nice.
So he had to go into a long skid.
Oh, he never told me that part.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, excellent. Well, you live, so don't complain.
Yes, of course.
So he picked me up at the airport, and I haven't seen him since the last time I was here, so we're catching up. And I'm always pestering him about, I don't know what you're charging me because, I can get a pretty good deal from Uber, and he hates it. He really hates Uber. And we've talked about the cab situation in the Netherlands before. We have guys who have they're officially licensed, but they don't necessarily drive with a taxi light on the roof. But they have their own system, they have their own clients, and they had this network built up with cell phones. And you had one guy's number, if he wasn't available, would automatically forward to the next guy who you'd probably know, but he would even answer with, hey, this is Eric's phone. How can I help you?
System.
Yeah, they had a whole system of delegating rides between each other and also all the billing. So very good system. And I said, Eric, man, what difference does it make? You can just ride for Uber. They're just booking rides. He says, now the problem is, what we're afraid of, and I think in this case it's valid. He says that if everyone's going to start adding Uber to kind of what they're doing, and these guys are going to have the market, and then it won't be 25% that we have to pay to them. It'll be 35%. And I think there's something to it.
Sure, that's the way you do it.
It's the American way. Yeah,
that's the way to do it. What are you thinking?
But yeah, it's much more. It's much more evident in a smaller market than like New York, because there's just so much still there. That's all. So they have to convince themselves not to go with this seemingly nice option for extra work and to organize all their stuff. So it's
well, the French aren't putting up with it.
No, but did they arrest those guys, the Uber guys?
I don't know something like that. I mean, they had big protests and they shut down the freeways, and I'm surprised they hadn't burned a couple of cars.
This is all the Uber pop stuff, all the kind of the real ride share and the, just people with, as long as you got four wheels, you can be an Uber driver. I still think the strategy is to go with the completely licensed, the full-on cab drivers and just provide this scheduling and billing service to them. And, this Uber pop is just a red herring. It's meant to be fought over and then, we'll get rid of it. And then meanwhile, people, they kind of slide in with the service that I think enough people will want. Like the Uber X and the Uber Select or whatever it is. Anyway.
We're big Uber users. You know more than I do.
Yeah. Well, that's what
I'm old fashioned. I still drive myself.
I drive myself from time to time. And wouldn't you know it, the main topics here are, of course, Greece and Tunisia, the Tunisian terror attack. And Eric he has a vacation booked for, I think, the second week of August in Rhodos. So he's freaking out that it's going to suck. And
Rhodos in Greece?
Greece, yeah, one of the islands.
Obviously.
Yeah. And he's really worried about it. And you can feel this is a guy from the street. He's been so indoctrinated, and of course I haven't been around lately, that he's saying these damn Greeks, they retire at 40 and they don't work and they're lazy asses. Like,
yeah,
really, that's.
Did you remind him that before all this came down on the Greeks, they were the most productive?
Yeah, he won't believe it. He said that's not true.
It's a fact.
Yeah, I know, it's horrible. We'll talk about that in a minute. But then the Tunisian terror thing, there was such a difference between leaving the U.S., which was a whole crappy thing by itself. My flight got canceled to Atlanta, so I had to fly through Minneapolis. It was...
Oh, yeah, I want to hear that. Let's go. That's good stuff.
Not really.
It is.
Okay. All right. Let me just finish Tunisian terror. Because the majority were British tourists. A lot of Dutch go there. People from all over Western Europe go to Tunisia on vacation. So this really hit home. You can really feel the tenseness, which, of course, is always... the goal of a strategy of tension, and it's really working. And of course, it comes right on time for the British, the new terror laws, and which should be rolled out any day now. And it's good, but it's a couple of like 30 British tourists. Who gives a crap as long as we can get the legislation pushed through? I think it's a good deal.
Okay.
So I get ready to go. I normally fly from Austin to Atlanta, from Atlanta to Amsterdam. And as I walk up, now, a couple of travel tips, people. Remember, regardless of your ticket type, and I had economy comfort, so I get a little bit of extra leg room.
Yes, this is a good tip. I know what it is. I know it's coming.
Just walk right up to the first class or the Sky executive thing, a window, bypass all the sheep. Just walk right up. Hey, how you doing? And they don't care. They really don't care. As long as you're happy and you're nice and you treat them with little niceness. And I had Jamie. First thing, Jamie, I love that color of your hair. That's really fantastic. And so I say, where are you going? I'm going to the Netherlands through Atlanta. And the lady next to me who's been standing there arguing with the other gate person, it's like, oh, I just got bumped from that flight. And Jamie looks at me and she goes, oh, the computer seems to have already booked you through, Mr. Curry. You're all good to go. It works. It works so well. And I, of course, had to wait 2 extra hours before I got to Minneapolis. And just before I board...
Why, did you mention the special meal?
I'm not there yet.
Oh.
Well, yeah, okay. Yes. The reason, of course, for the automatic booking, the automatic rollover to the system is because I ordered I think it was a gluten-free meal on the way over and a vegetarian meal on the way back.
The reason I say that is because the way you're telling the story makes it sound as though because you blew through the fake first class.
No.
That's what it sounded like. It's the way you were going.
It's a twofer. Okay. So you're right. The reason I was already booked through, the computer had done it automatically because I have a special meal. They do not kick you off. And this lady next to me, she had like a proper ticket, I guess, or she had miles, or she had some silver or gold card. She looked like one of those people, and she had gotten bumped off. She was at check-in before me.
Bumped off the flight.
Just done. You cannot go.
Bumped off.
Is there a difference, really? You feel like you've been bumped off.
Jeez.
Right. So this is why I was not bumped off. But
The flight.
off the flight, correct. But the extra benefit is before it was time to board. Adam Curry, come to the podium, please. And there was Jamie upgrading me to first class. At least on the
No, you got upgraded?
on the flight to Minneapolis. Yeah.
Oh. You didn't get upgraded on the international.
No. It was nice though. I have to say, it was a brand. The captain came on. He's like, "Oh, we got a brand new plane. Of course, we've tested it, but never with passengers. You're the first ones." You just see people look like, I don't know if I like that. It was a Airbus. It's a 334. Is that? Or was it 330?
There's no 334.
Yeah, it's got to be three. Got to be a 330. It was nice.
It's 330.
It was
How many
nice.
engines?
2 engines. It was a 330, I think. It was a nice aircraft. The new interior was good. Except they always have those dumb things. You go through the business of upgrading seats and the entertainment system. And, you can move the armrests up. Even the one on the aisle side, you could move up, which is very nice. But then in the toilet, in the lavatory, they still have, like a bottle of soap they have to jack in there. It's held up by, chewing gum and gaffer tape.
Those strings.
How come they never do that part?
Well, it's standard. Well, they had, I know, on a lot of the older planes, they had these little standardized containers but they had to fill them. And so there's always this thing of, why should we do that when we just buy a bottle with this plunger on it, because the plungers fail anyway.
Right.
At some point. So then they can't find any. The vendors will make them all different sizes because they're not really making them specifically for the airlines. Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, special meal saved me from getting bumped off the flight, and a little bit of charm got me an upgrade to first class. And I discovered that this is I only arrived 20 minutes later than my originally planned flight. And of course, if you look at the way you're flying, going up to Minneapolis makes more sense with the curvature of the Earth, because that's the way.
Yes,
that's a shorter way to fly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through Minneapolis.
Going down to Atlanta and then
makes no sense.
It's the long way.
Yeah, makes no sense.
You should go up to Chicago or Minneapolis.
The only problem is they don't have KLM operated flights from Minneapolis to Amsterdam, so I can't give my quasi. Oh, I think I remember that guy celebrity kind of treatment. Because there's always the senior purser is always
So who's
some 50-year-old lady?
It's actually who's flying it?
Delta operates.
Oh, it's Delta. It is actually a Delta flight.
Yeah, because they're Sky partners, John.
They stink.
And the flight attendants are just grouchy bitches.
Yeah, Delta's terrible.
Oh, why are they so grouchy?
Delta International is as though they don't want to go to Paris.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'd rather stay at home in Atlanta as Paris.
Minneapolis.
I'd rather be here in Minneapolis.
So everybody's very concerned about the euro over here.
Good.
Yeah, they should be. And let me bring you a little report. This is from the BBC.
Here's the ballot as it's currently written.
This is what I think a lot of people don't understand, is what is actually going to be voted on in Greece in a referendum on Sunday. I've heard, just in talking to people, like, you aren't voting to stay in the Eurozone? No, maybe you should, read something, dude.
You can see the question is incredibly long. It talks about the European offer made last week, but the choice is very simple. Ochi there for no, and ne for yes.
It's a difficult question.
Why?
We've wasted too much energy supporting one side or the other. It has put people in a very difficult position.
Yes or no?
No to the austerity measures. We say yes to euro and the currency. No to the austerity measures.
The Interior Ministry's been getting its stacks of electoral paperwork ready. It'll dispatch them to the rest of the country. The world's first democracy now holds as many votes as it can. Only 5 months ago, the country voted in the general election, which brought the Syriza party and its young leader to power. On Sunday, Alexis Tsipras will make the same walk to the same polling station at this school. Right now, there are no signs, there are no posters, but the Prime Minister probably still remembers the way to the ballot box. He didn't see any immediate hurry to get the school ready for the vote. The opposition calls for more time.
we cannot organize a referendum within 1 week because that means that we cannot comply with all the prerequisites of the law concerning referendums organization in Greece.
Okay. So that was a reasonable backgrounder, I'd say.
I have a backgrounder for us.
Oh, okay.
Just run Greece rundown. This is Amy Goodman, and she's got her perspective.
Amy, yes.
Greece has missed a $1.8 billion payment to the International Monetary Fund as it stands on the brink of a financial meltdown. The deadline coincided with the end of Greece's international bailout, leaving it without an infusion of the money it needs to meet its obligations. On Tuesday, European creditors rejected a last-minute proposal from Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras for a new financial lifeline. The head of the Eurogroup of finance ministers, Jeroen Dijsselbloem, said a new bailout.
She's worse than you are. The guy's name is Jeroen Dijsselbloem. Now, repeat after me. Jeroen Dijsselbloem.
Jeroen Dijsselbloem.
The head of the Eurogroup of finance ministers, Jeroen Dijsselbloem, said...
Dijsselbloem? Oh, I like that. What a dick.
Epic fail.
Jeroen Dijsselbloem. Say it again, Johnny. You can do it better than Amy Goodman.
Jeroen Dijsselbloem.
For a new financial lifeline. The head of the Eurogroup of finance ministers, Jeroen Dijsselbloem, said a new bailout program could be negotiated, but only if the Greek government backs down from its rejection of austerity demands.
What can change is the political stance of the Greek government that has led to this unfortunate situation. And what we could consider, but we will have another conference call tomorrow, is further talks on a new program. But given the current political position that the Greek government is taking, it's very difficult to have constructive talks.
The Financial Times is reporting the Prime Minister has made new concessions in a bid to complete an agreement. Greece is set to hold a referendum on Sunday on whether to accept an austerity package of budget cuts and tax hikes in exchange for new loans. On Tuesday, tens of thousands of people rallied in Athens in support of a yes vote, one day after a similarly sized crowd rallied against the austerity demands. With its missed payment, Greece becomes the first developed nation to fall into arrears with the IMF, and also for the largest ever amount. Meanwhile, a secret report from Greece's three main creditors appears to support Greek government calls for a major debt relief as part of any new agreement. According to The Guardian, documents from the troika of lenders acknowledge Greece would still face an unsustainable level of debt by 2030, even if it agrees to do all the group's austerity demands.
Very nice of Jeroen Dijsselbloem. Is the chat room suggesting?
A couple of things have gone on. One is they did put an offer on the table, and because they had this referendum scheduled, Merkel herself was, well, we're not even going to consider this because let's see what happens with the referendum.
Yes, it's created a rift between her and Hollande.
And I believe there's going to be a no vote, even though there's some people predicting yes. I don't see how that's possible.
And why do you think this? Why do you think it'll be a no vote?
Well, because the Greeks are getting screwed. That's why. And they've been getting screwed. And like they said in The Guardian, this is not going to help anything they do. They have to do some debt relief. I mean, they have to just bear down and live with what happened.
And at this point,
they have sent the EU itself with its own policies has sent the country down the toilet.
Yes.
It's their responsibility.
And something that is not well understood is that this money is not going to, well, from American perspective, foreign banks, or even from an EU perspective. This debt has been taken over by hedge funds long ago. And this is, and it's, of course, it's going to be a big American hedge fund.
Like what happened in Argentina.
Yeah. Did that ever get resolved other than they killed the guy and they said, it was suicide, and then what's her name? Christina. She said,
we have to look into it.
We do. But before you move on, John, I think there's something wrong with Amy Goodman. I think she
can't pronounce Dutch names.
Well, she can't even pronounce American names. I think she has a problem.
She can't say billion and million. She says billion and billion.
She's having a problem. Maybe it's a prompter problem. Listen to this.
Announcing the change, Homeland Security Secretary Jed Johnson said the detention of families will be short-term in most cases.
She said Jed Johnson.
What's wrong with that? That's what his name is.
Is she listening to the best podcast in the universe?
Jed Johnson.
I think we have a listener.
I really doubt it. Of all the people in the world that would listen to our show, I don't see her being on the list. Unless somebody says, hey, they're using clips from your show. Oh, really?
Oh, I like them. They called me drool mouth. That's so nice of them.
We also had the Greece ex-ambassador on the BBC, who's an interesting character. This guy, it looks like he looks like every kind of yuppie Silicon Valley looking guy.
What's his name?
Oh, damn it, I can't remember his name.
Well,
but he's just one of those guys. He looks like Scott McNeely. He's got that same funny Tim Draper. They all have the same similar look. This guy's one of them. But he's kind of predicting a yes vote, but I'm not buying it. But he's got some comments.
Hold on, it's let me see.
Greece.
I'm looking at, so it's not David Pierce. That would be the new guy, I guess.
No, it's the guy before him, I think. But he just looks such a
Daniel Bennett Smith.
I don't know. I'd have to look at his picture. I don't remember that name.
Okay, all right, never mind. Listening to him.
Yeah. Another round of negotiations, whether it's yes or no, this weekend.
Whatever happens, though, we do know that Greece's economic output has shrunk by 25% under these European-imposed austerity measures. Were they just too severe?
Well, it's been a catastrophic economic impact on Greece over the last 5 years. 25% economic downturn and 25% unemployment, 50% youth unemployment. I think the Greeks do have an argument to make to the rest of Europe about the wisdom of continued relentless austerity. But unfortunately, this Syriza government, the government in charge in Greece, has been inept in dealing with its creditors. They've alienated the Germans, including the German finance minister. They've alienated the IMF, and frankly, they've alienated parts of the American government because what they've been doing with the Russian Federation and speaking up to oppose sanctions against Russia over Ukraine. So they've not played a smart game. And when you look around this week, there are very few governments, if any at all, in the European Union willing to speak up for the Greeks. So there is that argument, that substantive intellectual argument that needs to be had out in Europe, but it's not being played because of the diplomatic deficiencies of the Greek government.
I think I need to take a different position than you, John. I'm thinking that the fix is in, and there's going to be a yes vote to the austerity measures, and the only reason is these jabronis, including the finance minister from Texas. What's his name again? Varoufakis. Yeah, Varoufakis. He's prancing around like a hero.
He's an egomaniac.
I mean, this is a report. He's prancing through the crowd. He reminds me a bit of, almost like Loic Lemur. You know him? Isn't that the guy's name who does Le Web in France? That guy, right? And you have to look him up. Loic Lemur.
Him. The web guy.
And for a little while there, he had some little thing, some app or something that was hot, and he would walk around like that too. Yeah, I'm Loic Lemur. Surely you've heard of me. And this guy reminds me of him. Here's that generous report, and then I'll finish my thought.
The Greek finance minister has reiterated the Syriza government's defiant stance ahead of Sunday's referendum on the country's bailout terms. Yanis Varoufakis backed his prime minister's recommendation of a no vote, saying the government may resign if the result goes the other way. He told Australian radio that Syriza would cooperate with whoever took over. Compounding nerves already jangling ahead of Sunday's vote, opinion polls contradict each other. One gives the Yes campaign a 4-point lead. An earlier survey gave the No camp a 9-point lead, while finding that support for the government's stance had fallen. This morning again saw long queues of pensioners waiting to receive payouts from the limited number of banks.
Yeah, those bastards.
For many Greeks, scenes like this symbolise the state of the country, with the referendum widely seen as determining whether Greece will stay in the euro. Eurozone finance ministers have ruled out further talks until after the vote.
Here's how I would play it. And just because I don't see a person waiting in the wings, have you seen any guy who, let's say it is a yes vote, then Syriza has vowed to resign and they would work with whoever took over? Do you see anyone who could pop in and be the leader? I mean, I just haven't. No one's been positioned as far as I can tell.
They're not giving us any names in the West, obviously. Yeah. I mean, it's possible that there's some hot shot there right now that we don't know about because we're just not getting that news feed.
Here's how. Well, true. I mean, but I've been looking for a couple days. I've been watching. Nothing is being presented, let's put it that way. At least not done well. And I think it will be a yes vote. Then whoever's going to come in, and this just fits with this jabroni, I think that there will be something new, some new party formed, and he will be the leader of it. People like this guy.
I understand what you're thinking.
Because we have to sell off the assets. I mean, that has to be done. That is not completed yet. We have to sell all the assets. This is the kind of guy who could do it. And I think he's enough of an egomaniac to want to be a part of this. And maybe it's planned.
Yeah, I'm not buying any of this.
No?
It's going to be a no vote. They're going to renegotiate. They're going to have to do something. They're going to have to do some loan forgiveness. They're going to have to do something. And they have to put their foot down the way the Argentinians did. And because otherwise they're just going to be.
But the Greeks are lazy.
They might as well just shoot themselves if they go with the EU's plans. They've already been screwed. The productivity of the country's dropped by 25%. Everyone in Europe hates them. You just confirmed that yourself. It's creating nothing but animosity. They can't do anything about that now. So this has not worked out. I'd be pointing the finger at the Europeans for screwing me that badly. It wasn't even useful.
Hey, somehow you believe that people in Europe and Greece in particular receive any kind of information through the mainstream media that would give them this informed opinion. I'm shocked.
Shocked, I said. Shocked, I tell you.
Yeah, I'm shocked. No.
They don't know anything. They're idiots.
They're lazy. They're too lazy to read a newspaper.
Too lazy to read news. They talk at the cafe.
That's all they do. Bastards. Hey, new terrorism laws here in the Netherlands. There was an interesting court case. There was apparently the surveillance services in the Netherlands were just tapping into a very prominent law firm who represents a lot of people being accused of aiding and abetting terrorism. And they would just listen to all the phone calls for years. That was discovered, and then the higher court, I don't know some court of import, said, you can't do that except under certain circumstances. Like if we really know that's a terrorist. Yeah, okay, fine. So it was seen as kind of a win. But at the same time, they shepherded in these other laws, which make it incredibly easy for the authorities to divert data traffic, to listen to any call without the concept of a warrant doesn't really exist. There's no Fourth Amendment here in the Netherlands. There's versions of it, but not really. Requiring all telephony providers and ISP providers to save all data for a minimum of 3 years. They can intercept and read emails. I mean, it's crazy. And it's of course, not really discussed. So, whatever. Let's stop some terrorists. They'll be good. Well,
yeah, it's a screwball story similar. Play this clip. This is and this was strange to me. This is the FISA overrules clip.
FISA. Okay. Now, FISA as in the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Services?
The FISA court.
FISA court, okay.
The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court has reauthorized the bulk collection of U.S. phone records for another 180 days. The program lapsed with the expiration of the Patriot Act last month, but Congress authorized a 6-month transition period to move into a new system where telephone companies hold the bulk records. A federal appeals court had declared the bulk collection illegal, but the FISA court decision overrides that ruling. The American Civil Liberties Union now says it'll seek a new injunction to block the FISA court's decision. Jed Johnson.
We knew about this.
How does the FISA court have standing over the appeals court? It's a secret court. It's like a kangaroo court.
Yeah.
So we have a secret court now that can overrule the appeals courts? It's a secret court?
No, but I think the way we read it when we looked at the USA Freedom Act is that it's quite specifically stated there was a 6-month transition period. But so it would have just continued on for the next 6 months seamlessly had the sunset not lapsed and it had been extended in the USA Freedom Act. So because it was not extended, it had to be reinitiated in order to fit within the 6-month window. That, I think, is the process.
Well, that could be, and it doesn't surprise me.
No, of course not.
Heaven forbid you lose a couple of days worth of data.
Big data, baby. Now, meanwhile, back in the United States of Gitmo America, we have, of course, we have July 4th weekend coming up, Independence Day. I believe if we look back, all the warnings we received, we've never had a huge attack on July 4th since 9/11. Which was not on July 4th, but we haven't had one.
For sure.
Yeah. So here we have. Oh, I got a clip too. I have.
We're going to have something bad's going to happen.
Yes, we have Peter King along with the new.
Oh, that's my punchline. You ruined it.
What? Your punchline was Peter King?
Yeah.
What was the joke?
I'm so like it's too late now.
Well, but I want to hear what I ruined so I can try and not do that in the future.
Well, you can't. That's impossible.
Well,
it's like once in a while I step on your gags.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just not possible for us to coordinate this sort of thing.
I'm sorry.
Coincidentally, you found the same a-hole.
Well, maybe it's different. Maybe it's different. You don't know.
Okay, let me do my bit then.
Well, but then it'll ruin my clip if it's the same clip.
Okay, you play your clip.
Here he is along with McCall. This is the new guy. The new guy in the, what is it? The anti-terrorism committee or whatever.
Where does this clip derive?
I believe this is from Fox.
Here
we go.
We talked at the top about this terror alert from the Joint Terrorism Task Force about possible attacks.
What?
That's Chris Wallace. So he's on his show doing this. Oh, this is funny. So my thing's still valid. Go on.
Good.
Over the July 4th holiday. How alarming is the intel? How much chatter is there?
Chatter!
Well, it is concerning. There is a great deal of chatter. High volume, if you will.
Chatter. John, what kind of chatter could this be?
Chatter.
No, I don't think so.
Chatter.
No. Chatter. This is the kind of chatter.
No. Hey.
That's.
Hey. That's the best part.
Wait, does it have another one? Hold on.
Oh. Yep.
No. Hey.
He's a Martian, apparently. Or.
Okay, you know what?
We have the best producers. We have the best producers in the business, man. Best in the business, I tell you. All right,
we get a lot more from that little clip.
Oh yeah, onward with these douche knuckles.
Is the intel? How much chatter is there?
Chatter.
Well, it is concerning. There is a great deal of chatter, high volume, if you will. A joint intelligence bulletin was issued to state and locals. I think the concern is, quite frankly, Chris, the confluence of all these events of, the ISIS spokesman calling for jihad during Ramadan, which is happening right now.
Whoa.
You have the 1-year anniversary of the Caliphate or Islamic State, and now we have the 4th of July coming up, which is obviously one of these holidays we celebrate that they like to target this sort of thing.
They've never targeted this sort of thing. Never targeted.
They like to target it?
Yeah, they like it, but they don't actually do it.
And these anniversaries. And so
anniversaries.
Given the confluence of events, we're being on the cautious side here to warn the public to remain vigilant, to enjoy the 4th of July parades, but remain vigilant during these
remain vigilant, citizens.
Celebrations.
There was great concern. I would say there's probably more concern now than any time since September 11th. And as you said, there are these lone wolf attacks, but ISIS, really, they have a multi-level sense of operation. It's not just a lone wolf.
John, a multi-level sense of operation.
A multi-level sense
of operation.
ISIS,
what's a sense of operation even mean?
Well, let's listen to it again. Maybe we'll figure it out from Mr.
No, we won't.
No, probably not.
But ISIS, really, they have a multi-level sense of operation. It's not just...
That's what we do on this podcast. We got a multi-level
sense of operation.
That's right. Operate now.
It's the lone wolves. Also, there can be some coordination. among these so-called lone wolves that are out there.
So-called.
That's why there is. You saw Jay Johnson, I have a great regard for.
The Homeland Security Secretary.
Homeland Security's Secretary put out the statement talking about the 4th of July. Generally, they don't put those statements out that far in advance unless there's reason for concern. So it's both the lone wolves and it's also the potential of a coordinated attack.
Jed Johnson.
Stephanopoulos? No. Oh, maybe. No.
Or was that the same show?
That was the same show. It was just he was.
Okay, well, on another show, this asshole has to show up again. Mm-hmm. Let's start with Megyn Kelly, Fear Porn 1.
Okay, Fear Porn.
This show opens strong. Watch it. This is the opening. Here we go.
Breaking tonight, a growing number of warnings from top security officials about the threat of a terror attack in America over the 4th of July holiday. Good evening and welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly.
Hey, baby.
The Department of Homeland Security.
She is so hot. Sorry. She is. I've looked at a couple clips of hers, but oh, man. Damn. Just say it.
She's a good-looking woman.
And welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. The Department of Homeland Security is now calling on law enforcement officials around the country to step up security measures ahead of this week's Independence Day celebrations. Woo-hoo. In New York, where some 3 million spectators are expected to converge for the Macy's fireworks show, the NYPD says it is not taking any chances, loading sanitation trucks with sand to act as protective barriers in case of an explosion, welding shut manhole covers around parts of the city, and strategically placing snipers and spotters in the areas near crowds. Officials fear a recent call to arms by the Islamic State terror group may inspire a lone wolf attack.
You know, they've won. They've just won. We're filling up dump trucks with sand.
Fox has won.
Yeah.
They're the terrorists.
Yes. This is pure terrorism.
So I'm listening away, and here's how the joke would have gone. And then I said that they actually had more people talking. This was just, I had to cut out I said, and who do you think they'd bring on now? What douchebag congressman would Megyn bring on to talk about this?
Well, first,
then you would guess, I don't know. And then here would be Peter King.
Okay. And then which clip would I play?
Fear Porn 2.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not. Yeah.
Joining me now, New York Congressman Peter King, who's a member of the House Homeland Security Committee. Thank you very much for being here tonight, Congressman. So is this, compare the threat that we are seeing right now.
Oh, he's in studio with Megyn.
No, he's not.
Oh, it sounds like he's in studio.
To the time frame since 9/11.
Megyn, I have to say, I've never seen this level of concern at any time since 9/11. I know on the 10th anniversary of 9/11, we had some concerns, and there's always been, something coming up, and nothing to this extent, nothing. And this goes back, as far as I know, at least 3 weeks. The concern was there. It's been building, and all the indicators are that ISIS does want to carry out an attack. We know they've had operatives here working in the country. There's been 5 arrests in New York in the last week to 10 days, 9 arrests countrywide. I mean, I don't know of any other time where you've had 5 individuals arrested in one city in such a brief period of time, at a time when all the indicators we're getting is that ISIS wants to carry out this attack, and they are intent on doing it. So this is the real deal. And anyone who out there...
The real deal, man.
It's the real deal. They want to carry out this attack. Do they want to carry... Now, it seems to me you would phrase it, they want to carry out an attack. They want to carry out an attack.
No, he's talking about this attack. Wow.
What if there's this attack, then what is the attack? He must know what it is to say that. To use those words, this attack.
Let's listen to that again. Excellent catch.
ISIS wants to carry out this attack.
Oh! Do you think that they'll finally do one?
No.
Well,
no, he's just being led. Somebody somewhere gave him some information to get him all jacked up because they know he's stupid, and so he goes out and he goes on every show he can. Like you say, you had him on a different show, and there he is, all glum. He never smiles. She even says something funny at the end. She goes on about, and then she bitches about this being a bunch of fear porn. But I don't think I could have left that on. But the guy never cracks a smile. He's dour. He's a jerk, and he's stupid.
We need to kill them.
We need to kill them.
ISIS wants to carry out this attack, and they are intent on doing it. So this is the real deal. And anyone who out there who thinks this is a fake or this is just trying to drum up fear is absolutely wrong.
Hey, wait a minute.
That's us.
He's talking to us, man. That's not okay, man.
It's real. It's real. It's real.
You wouldn't see the NYPD doing what it's doing if they didn't have a real concern.
Yeah, or how about overtime? Overtime is what I'm calling on that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. When they showed the clips of all these cops going on, they had lines of cop cars, millions of them. I mean, it looks like Keystone Cops. This is an overtime scam.
Yeah, and the president just came out in favor of increasing overtime.
Yeah, cops love overtime. It's how they go over the.
That's how they make real money.
Pay their bills.
Yeah, because you get paid shit as a cop, and you do overtime.
You get lots when you're getting overtime, and so they're working overtime as we speak.
Yes,
because they're setting up, they're welding the manhole covers and then
filling up the dump trucks with sand.
They have to unweld them.
Oh yes, and
more overtime.
And we have to
fix the mess you made.
Yeah, and we have to empty the dump trucks of the sand.
They're going to have, it seems to me that they're building this up so much they should at least arrest a couple more guys and make it
realistic. Yeah, look better. Make the optics better.
Yeah, the optics.
The initial concern.
You can stop there. I got the one last clip.
Oh, okay.
So Megyn then brings on some bullcrap artist who wrote a book. Then the guy is Dane. Is this Danish guy who wrote some book. You know who this guy is?
No, I'm just doing Danish.
He's a Danish guy who's supposedly was a member of Al Qaeda, and he's like a white guy.
Oh, and he wrote the book about Al Qaeda. Yeah,
and then he was going to go to Somalia, and then he turned and he became an informant. And I never heard this term used in this regard. An informant for the CIA. Now, he'd either be a spy, it seems to me.
Yeah, that's
as opposed to an informant. It's an informant for the CIA.
Yeah, FBI have informants, and CIA just has spies.
Yeah, so
but maybe they have informants, and people just
nuts because he's full of crap. That's why. Here, play it.
Well, our next guest can offer insider perspective on the terrorist threat. Morten Storm is a fascinating man. He is a former Danish gangster who turned to radical Islam and wound up joining Al Qaeda in Yemen. He got close to one of its most senior leaders, al-Awlaki, and tried to join jihadists fighting in Somalia before finally changing course and becoming a CIA informant. He is also the author of the book Agent Storm, and he joins me now. Morten, thank you so much for being here. What an interesting existence you've had. How symbolic, how important would it be to a group like ISIS to hit Americans in the homeland?
See, there's two issues here. First of all, it's Ramadan, and we know from Abu Muhammad al-Adani.
By the way, you stop for a second. If you can back it up again, after she asked the question, he goes through this paroxysm. He's breathing in and out.
I heard it, yeah.
Groaning.
Group like ISIS to hit Americans in the homeland.
See, there's two issues here. First of all, it's Ramadan, and we know from Abu Muhammad al-Adani, the spokesman from ISIS, that they are warning and promising more attacks. So that's number one. They have, because of Ramadan, the increasing the worship, the increasing jihad. The other one is obviously having national holidays. That's something where people are supposed to celebrate it.
Yeah, a question for you, John, regarding this, because this is now two clips that we've heard this. Ramadan is, of course, a very holy holiday, and it involves fasting during the day and then having the men cook at night, all kinds of sweet stuff. For a month until August 17th. But, I mean, are they implying that ISIS is so unholy that they go and plan to kill during Ramadan? So they're not really the Islamic State. They're kind of like, it's the holiest of all holies. Holy, holy, holy. And that they have the energy. I mean, these guys are hungry. I don't want to blow anything up, boss. Hey, I'm doing good. Can I have an apple? No, makes no sense.
And these terrorists will do everything they can to ruin that. As you just talked about before, they will try to terrorize people mentally so they're actually scared before anything happens.
The thing with ISIS is they are specific. They tell you they're going to do something, and then they tend to do it, or at least try to do it. And so do you think that has to do with the
Where did
level?
this come from?
Megan just really blew it on that one, didn't she?
What's she talking about?
I don't know. She's full of crap.
Oh, the thing about ISIS is that they tell you they're going to do something. It's just like she's thinking of the old Green Bay Packers. They would tell you, we're going to run it right there.
All I'm thinking of is, when I hear this story, all I'm thinking of is, man, she's so hot. Who cares what she says?
Do something, and then they tend to do it, or at least try to do it. And so do you think that has to do with the level of response we're seeing from all these authorities, including the former deputy CIA director coming out and saying on Sunday, I wouldn't be surprised if this time next week we're talking about an attack that did take place in the U.S.?
It's not, it's the attack, Megan. Have you been briefed? The attack.
And Morell is out there pushing his book.
Oh, God.
This guy's the worst.
Don't tell me you have a clip from him, too.
I know. I don't have that clip, but I have a bunch of Morell clips that I didn't put together for this show because it was like I couldn't stand listening to this guy.
Well, it's interesting you got this Dane because I got, let me see. He is,
his name's Storm.
Storm. I have a clip here from Christopher Ahlberg, and I'm sure he's from Scandinavia. He is the co-founder of Recorded Future. We've talked about this company before. They are a cybersecurity company, and I believe those are the guys with the map, I think, with the pew, 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 with the cyber attacks.
All the crap flying around?
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. Christopher, let me just see where this guy is from. Christopher Ahlberg. He is from Sweden. Swedish, perfect. And the Swedish listeners are going, you dick, Curry, shut up with your stupid accent. All right. So this is Foreign Policy Initiative, which is the ultimate neocon right-wing crazy think tank, FPI. The guy on from FPI in this interview, his name is Chris Griffin. He's the executive director, so he's the copy to tutti copy. And they commissioned a report from these guys. This is what you want to do as a think tank. You have your money from the military-industrial complex. Let's sit down and have some coffee. We're thinking here in the tank. I know. Let's get these guys to create a great report which shows we need all this extra cyber gear for our customers who, our supporters, our donors. Did I sum it up kind of how it works?
There's that element. Is this Chris Griffin got a brother named Stewie?
Okay. So this is about the Yemen cyber army exposing the Saudi cables. And this has been done through WikiLeaks, 27-part series. They keep releasing all these Saudi Arabia diplomatic documents and cables, which pretty much show these guys are assholes, which is the whole point. And, of course, instead of being honest about it and saying, well, we're behind it because that's what America does best when we want to screw somebody, we're great. No, it's Iran. Yeah, Iran is pretending to be the Yemen cyber army and doing all this. And it was interesting to get both sides. Well, it's not both sides. They're both on the same team in this interview. But just listen to the language that this Recorded Future guy, Christopher Ahlberg, is using. And it's so insane how this is being set up completely to just morph all military spending into this bonanza known as cyber.
So, what's pretty interesting here is seeing this sort of constant jostling, obviously, between these two countries for a long time, turning on to Yemen, the Yemen arena, and then here recently seeing this Yemen cyber army emerging, quote unquote, out of nowhere, acting decently sophisticated, going after and hacking the Saudi Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which, presumably is a decently sophisticated organization, grabbing a boatload of documents and getting them out of there.
Boatload.
And then turning this into, and I think this is where it turns interesting, into a decently sophisticated information operation, running, among other things, a 27-part so far WikiLeaks/Saudi Leaks campaign together with the Fars News Agency. So pretty interesting, and not much Yemen going on with this Yemen cyber army. I think we can look elsewhere.
So this is the official word from the report that we can look out. It's not really Yemen, it's Iran, and it makes so much sense if you think about the John C. Dvorak theory of rebelization of the Middle East. Of course we want Iran to do that. We want Iran to get all up in Saudi Arabia's grill. Get all in their face. So let's start a cyber war and let's look at all the horrible actors. We go to Chris Griffin, the executive director of Foreign Policy Initiative, who, of course, really loves this report.
Thank you for having me on, KT, and really want to commend Chris for that excellent report.
Yeah, there'll be a little something extra in your pay packet at the end of the month for that excellent report.
Hey, the big thing that I think that this speaks to, there's been a long-running rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia. For the longest time, the United States, to some degree, has acted as a backstop to how much that conflict could escalate. That the Saudis, of course, see us as an ally, the Iranians see us an adversary. That's always placed limitations on what they could do to one another. I think that some of the trends that Chris identified is that increasingly the Saudis do not trust us, the Iranians do not fear us. The Saudis are taking action into their own hand, and as the report also points out, that the Iranians are attacking both Saudi Arabia and the United States using cyber means far more than they have in the past.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
brother.
We never hear. It's always the Russians or Chinese. Now all of a sudden it's the Iranians. No, lies.
That's a good one.
Yeah, just okay, fine. It's Iran now. Now we go back to our Swedish friend, and he's really going to amp it up here on the war, the cyber war. He's going to give us the details of cyber warfare, cyber war. And just for a moment, I know people listening to this broadcast understand, can remove themselves from all the analogies that are being made where you feel like this shit is blowing up and they're trying to intercept packets and everyone's in their head on this stuff. It's just some computer crap. It's not in what are they doing? What is the horrible offense that is being committed in this cyber war between Yemen, Iran, and Saudi Arabia?
This started, there is some history, but it's been this sort of I think of it sort of low-key cyber volleying back and forth at each other. We see this various places of the world. The sort of well-known example is sort of what we see in between Pakistan and India, where the two countries sort of deface each other's website. You grab somebody's website, you figure out how to make some dangerous face show on it, or put your propaganda message there. We've seen that with the Syrian Electronic Army doing that to various media companies around the West.
So is this, John, am I understanding correctly that this is pretty much a war of script kiddies?
People who cracked a WordPress password for admin.
Yeah. But so these script kiddies, this is what this huge cyber war is all about, defacing public websites?
I don't even think it's as deep as script kiddies. I'll go back. Somebody used password as their WP-ADMIN
exactly
.com. The subdirectory, which I've done it myself. You go into the sub. You can what the subdirectory is named, even though sometimes you can't just you can't necessarily go there, but half the time you can. And you type in /WP admin, and it takes you right to a page. Sometimes it takes you right into the system. Sometimes it takes you to a password stoppage, which is usually something stupid. It's easy to get in. It's not even using a script. It's not even that level of, where somebody's trying to hack. It's not even a hack. It's just you're walking in the door and you change the front page. Big deal.
Another John C. Dvorak cyber warfare tip.
And they're all WordPress blogs.
Okay, let's move onward.
And that's sort of what we've been seeing historically. I think what makes this interesting here is that it sort of looks like somebody got tired of this and said, look, I'm going to yank up this game to a different level. And when we look at this and
spinning that up, baby,
sort of take apart this Yemen cyber army and really try to understand who they are, they're an interesting beast. They sort of look a lot like other Iranian actors. We think of Al-Qassam cyber fighters and Parastu and the Iranian cyber army, and that are more sophisticated, and they act in a way that sort of makes them they act more sophisticated. And what we've seen here is this, where the cyber activity turned into an information operation. And I think that's sort of the interesting part. And it's so well orchestrated to a degree where you're saying this is not just a guy in a basement. This is something more.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's a guy in a basement.
They ratcheted it up a notch.
They ratcheted it up. I'm ratcheting it up.
Somebody said, I'm tired of this crap. Let's ratchet it up.
Drop making the service go dead and staying dead for a month. That would be ratcheting it up.
We're still not talking about
changing the front page of some website.
Now, this, of course, doesn't really get the dollars in if you really analyze what he's saying, because it's bullshit. But we can always
By the way, if you're going to go do this, you're going to say you got in somehow using admin's password.
Right.
Go in to the.
I'd put a goatsy on the homepage, regardless.
Well, you could do that. Go in. There's a segment, if you know how to use WordPress, there's an area that shows all the users and their privileges. Erase them all, so nobody else can actually get back on the site. And this thing will be hanging there for days.
But that's not a PSYOP, John. You have to do PSYOPs, psychological warfare. PSYOPs. He's going to say PSYOPs.
PSYOPs.
He's going to say PSYOPs. But also, this is the point in this interview where we have to say that, this cyber warfare, this guy in the basement with a coffee maker, is going to turn deadly. It will kill people. People will die.
Getting killed by jets.
People will die.
Are we going to see cyber war replace battlefield warfare?
No, it's not going to replace. But I think sort of classically, you go back and think of Clausewitz and war as an extension of politics, and we've seen this now with Russia and their sort of activities with both little green men sort of showing up, special forces, special ops type.
Yeah, but not necessarily their special forces, special ops. Listen to this dickhead, and he's sitting in front of a whiteboard behind him with formulas and little drawings with interconnected nodes of things. You dick. You douche. I'm going to douchebag this guy. You know what you are? You're just a disgrace to the technology world. You're a disgrace. What's his face again? What's his name? Christopher Alberg.
Chris Griffin?
Yeah, Christopher Alberg. No, Christopher Alberg from Project Recorded Future.
Things being intermingled with the Internet Research Agency and St. Petersburg, with basically doing information operations. And, at some level, that's always been a part of war, doing PSYOPs. Doing, information warfare. But with the Internet, you can take that to a whole different level. Now, maybe you're also alluding to that we will also see these sort of things going at kinetic activities and so on. And I'm sure that's going to happen as well. But the interesting part is when you think about the sort of what we've seen in Ukraine with the sort of the little green men combined with information warfare. That's like what I think is really interesting here. And Iran is quickly learning how to play that game.
Okay, so now we've learned.
What's little green men?
Well, if you have a combination of little green men and PSYOPs, kinetic will go. Kinetic is go.
What's he talking about?
Kinetic is go. He's talking about whatever the other guy wants to hear, which just shows you how great his report is. This guy. Ugh.
Where did you get this piece of crap?
I don't remember. You really want me to look? I can find it.
Well, I would be curious who would allow such a report to be broadcast.
Okay, I'm going to see. It is, here we go, Fox News.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. It's despicable. It really is bothersome that they're doing this stuff. I don't like it at all. But it'll work. And with that, I think I said to say thank you for your courage. And in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for cyber warfare tipster, Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air. Subs in the water. And all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to everybody in the chat room, noagendastream.com. Thank you very much for participating today in the program. Your help and your feeding me lines is always appreciated. In the morning to, let's see, it was Neil Campbell. Neil. Yeah, Neil brought us the artwork for episode 734. You can find all the submissions at noagendaartgenerator.com. And this was
I believe Baron Nussbaum gave us the
for the newsletter.
For the
newsletter, yes. And it was really nice. It was the White House rainbow lit White House, and it says with some extra little bits there. Now it's ready for Hillary, which is based on John's theory that the Supreme Court decision and the subsequent lighting of the White House in the gay color rainbow flag is just in case Hillary gets outed.
I have some interesting Hillary thoughts today.
Okay.
Which we'll talk about after we thank a few producers. We actually have 4 executive producers and no associate executive producers whatsoever.
Huh.
Kind of a strange grouping today. A lot of it has to do with the battle, the reenactment that we're doing in a virtual space of the War of 1812, in which apparently the Canadians are winning again.
Yeah, and this is also the 50th anniversary of the Scandinavian flag, I believe. So there's a lot of a lot of patriotism going on.
A lot of Canadian pride.
Pride, yeah, Canuck pride.
Yeah, well, we'll keep this going until after you're back.
Well, it just shows you how sad America is. It shows you how sad the United States is. No one cares. We don't care. Whatever. Let the Canadians have it.
Most people, I put this in the newsletter, I think, or I've said it before. Nobody knows what the War of 1812. There was a war in 1812. What was that all about, you think?
A lot of Indians.
Was that an Indian fight? Were we fighting the Indians?
We talked about it. We had
the War of 1812. Is that when?
Yes, when the Canadians,
Vanilla Ice came out with that song. Was that
Ice Baby? Yes.
Yeah, War of 1812. I think so. No. Trevor Baker, we want to thank him. He's at the top of the list with $1,000.33. That's nice. Hail Obama. Greetings, defenders of the universe. The reason avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, ARFID or SED. Entries exist in the DSM. Why? Because there is something obviously wrong with a person who won't eat bugs. Episode 729. Let's crunch down on our revelation with a no yes. Rescue mission, Predator drone with optional, you'll never see it coming. That's how we roll. Finding a Dame Karma.
Damn. Okay. So what is he asking for?
For sounds. Okay, ready?
Okay, so he wants the I love bugs.
No, yes.
No, yes, yeah.
Rescue mission.
What is that?
That's Obama.
Oh, Team Obama. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Team Obama. Rescue mission Predator drone with optional. You never see it coming. I don't know if you can find that.
Predator drone. Yeah, I got that one.
And that's how we roll. Karma.
Okay.
Or I don't know what finding a dame. Oh, karma, just relationship karma.
And what was the last? We have team, and then what was the last one?
That's how we roll.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is part of the Predator, part of that rescue mission thing.
No, it's not. And then I'll add I love bugs.
And now let's finish the note. I'm asking a lot. True.
Yeah.
You
really are. Yeah, you are.
You threw in an Instanite. Yeah. I think Instanite's going to ask a lot.
Yeah, I think you got to.
Well, now he's in for
challenge coin. Challenge coin. It's a challenge
coin. Why'd you give an extra penny?
It's a challenge coin. I flipped him a challenge coin.
That sound like the penny. I am asking a lot, but the jingle sequence is worth it. TBPITU. You guys really mean a lot to me. Please knight me as Sir Scoops.
You got it.
Knight of the 33.
Nice.
All right,
here we go.
I love bugs. Bugs.
If there's a need for a rescue mission, when the world is threatened, and the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story. I have 2 words for you. Predator drones. You will never see it coming. That's how we go. That's how we roll.
That's all, folks.
And that's the story.
You've got karma.
All right. Hell yeah. On location, I might point out.
That was outstanding.
Thank you. On location.
Again.
Best podcast in the universe.
Why you don't get nominated for the best producer, for best produced podcast because of what you do on the fly in real time.
Yeah.
Astounds me.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's possible that nobody's been paying attention to this skill.
Talent, John. I like to think of it as talent. Yes.
But I noticed it. Sean Kelly, meanwhile, has noticed it because he sent in $333.35 from Dallas, Texas. This is part 2 of the high donation promised last week, but you didn't seem to get it. You didn't get it, you dummies.
Oh.
You just didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
I have sent or am sending an email rant for you. What is the cutoff time for donations and birthday shout-outs for the show, as you missed mine last year with Ingrid's donation?
Dang.
But I got the Ebola show to myself, and you missed Ingrid's this year.
Oh.
What the what sort of 2-bit operation are you guys running there?
I think you know. It's pretty obvious.
And then he says, only kidding. Great show, awesome analysis.
We're running it off of QuickBooks, I tell you.
Okay, running it out of a drawer in my kitchen, actually, the dining room.
Not asking for anything. Is it nothing?
Sean will whatever you just send us a special anytime. We'll
hook you up.
You're always welcome for your opinions.
Yes.
Simon Moon in Hong Kong, $333.33. The classic. It's a birthday donation for Ingrid Jackson from Simon Moon for last Friday. Another Ingrid. It's a coincidence. Interesting. There you go. There's your random number theory at work. Unless it's the same Ingrid. Things have been a lot tougher this year with things going astray, including deportations, denial of entries, and loss of a lot of stuff in a foreign country. But thanks to you guys keeping us sane, we are rebuilding and know things are on the turn.
Good. So
some travel jobs and birthday karma with a don't eat me Hillary Clinton, little girl yay, and an Obama boom shakalaka. This is not Obama. It's funny that you would think it was. We could somehow get him to say it. It'd be awesome.
Don't eat me, Hillary Clinton. Yay!
Ding, dingo, boom, boom, shakalaka, boom, 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 shakalaka, boom, boom.
You've got karma.
And finally, last on the list but not least is Wesley C. Young in Jamestown, New York for $300. And I do not find an email from him.
Oh, let me see.
May have sent you one.
No, let me check. It is.
I know somebody sent
Wesley
you one.
C. Young. Okay, hold on.
Or Wesley Young, or
that would be a possibility. Let's see.
Jeffrey Young. There's a
Young.
Got a bunch of different ones that sent in. It could be this.
No.
Let's see.
No.
No, this is another Young. This is William Young.
No, I do not have anything, John. Sorry.
He only said all right. Well, if you got something for us, you make me choke up. Yeah, if you got something, a note for us, Jeffrey, send it in, and we'll run it after. It'll be 2 weeks, though. Not 2 weeks, but 2 shows from now.
Now, because there's only executive producers on today's program, do we put ourselves in as associate executive producers?
No.
No. Hey.
The only time we put ourselves in, which we haven't done this year, we've done it last year once, and we did it the year before once or twice.
Right.
Is when nobody comes in at the over $200.
Right.
The rules. Let's reiterate. If you come in at $200 and you're the only one donating at those levels, then you become the executive producer, and that's it. That's the whole show. If nobody comes in for any amount,
that's the rules.
We put ourselves in.
That's the rules.
That's the rules, and I'm a rule follower.
Are you sure you're a rule follower?
Nah.
I didn't think so.
I'm not a rule follower. But we want to remind people that we do have a show that we've produced, which is pre-produced, though. It'll be running on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then another show, which will be a couple of interviews of John Scully and Bob Heil. They'll be running next Thursday. But we do produce
fresh content. Fresh.
It's fresh content. It's not like reruns or anything.
No.
And so we'd like you to be reminded to go to Dvorak.org/NA and keep the support coming in.
Yeah, that would be appreciated. That would be appreciated.
We always get a drop off when we don't go live on the air.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And of course, we always need you out there doing the very important work of propagating our formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave. Shut up, slave.
Got to tell you, John, that Obama bit, that no thing, it's really uncanny how often I hear people do this. No. I catch myself doing it now. No.
Hey.
It's uncanny.
That's the hey that cracks me up.
There was an interesting bit. Let me find this for you. Where was this? It was on, I think, MSNBC, of course. And they were talking about this heckler. Now, we just thought it was like was an undocumented immigrant who was heckling and wanted something about immigration. That is only really partially true. Listen to this.
Another big moment for him this week was when he said, "Not in my house" to the heckler.
Okay, I'd like to play that because I have a very different take on that. But let's play the "Not in my house" for a moment.
Hey. Yeah, listen, you're in my house.
So you heard the cheers from the crowd there, but I do want to remind folks that the president was calling out a transgender, undocumented woman of color.
She should have had a wooden leg and a glass eye.
Oh, wow.
That's great. Undocumented transgender woman of color with a wooden leg, a hump in her back, and a glass eye. And thanks, Obama. And thanks, crazy-ass crowd.
So you heard the cheers from the crowd there, but I do want to remind folks that the president was calling out a transgender, undocumented woman of color, and that it actually isn't his house. I mean, I appreciate, I get people, again, this is the point about, like, that presidential swagger, but it's my house. Right. It's our house. Like, this is a little bit like it's actually the people's house. And
who is this maniac?
That's, with the braided hair.
Oh, my God.
Black girl.
MSNBC is the worst.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
It's the worst.
Fabulous.
And I'm down for talking tough, but I don't know to the most more.
Hey, I'm down for talking tough.
I'm down for talking tough.
And he wasn't talking tough, as we displayed on episode 734.
No, he wasn't talking tough at all.
He was like, I'm not going to talk anymore until somebody removes him. Hey, guys, relax. It's been a long time now.
House and I'm down for talking tough, but I don't know to the most marginalized person in the room how tough that feels to me. But that moment was one, and again, some about him, but also more about the cheer that goes up from the crowd, our enthusiasm about seeing this president who's been so embattled fight back. But I'm thinking, but that's not the person I want you fighting back again.
That's right. So the crowd saw this illegal immigrant transgendered woman of color with a wooden leg, a glass eye, and a hump. And they went, boo you, boo. That's scary. You know what? You can keep it. It can be your house. Keep your friends in there too, Obama. Dang.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
On that topic, I want to play a clip that is Amy Goodman again. And this was
yes.
She's talking about the I don't know, the gay pride or the parade, or I don't know what she's talking about, but her usage. This is the clip that is LGBTQ. I want you to play this because who's using this particular, what usage is this?
Counties in a handful of southern states are still refusing to issue marriage licenses to LGBTQ couples despite last week's Supreme Court ruling. Officials in Texas, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky have vowed to reject the court's mandate, citing religious freedom. Injunctions have already been filed to force compliance. On Tuesday, the county clerk for Hood County, Texas, said she would back down from an initial refusal to offer marriage licenses to LGBTQ couples.
Wait, she said LGBTQ at the end there.
What's LGBTQ?
Are you seriously?
Yeah.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and questioning or queer.
Questioning
or queer. That's because
is it questioning or queer? That's what I'm asking. Is it's got to be one of the
Well, she's not using the right acronym.
I know. You're the only one I know that does anything. I don't use it because I can't remember it.
LGBT.
I know.
I'll tell you, LGBT.
I'm too old to remember such long.
You don't have to remember it because I'm here with you. LGBTQIAAP. This is the full acronym: lesbian, gay, bisexual, bicurious, transgendered, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, allied, and pansexual. That's the full acronym.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much everybody.
You're the only guy I know that plays the game. But she uses LGBTQ. I brought this up once before we had one of our one of the guys at Mevio is a notorious gay, and I would say notorious because
Joe.
Always who
Joe?
No.
Oh.
Brooks.
Oh, hey.
He's a great guy and a good producer.
Yeah.
And he
a great gay.
I asked him this question, and then I saw it was reiterated to me when I was watching one of these presentations, and I believe it was on Democracy Now!, but it could have been on any of these stations. They showed this new flag they're trying to promote, which is the gay colored flag with the stars and stripes.
Oh, I've not seen this. This is dynamite.
Well, it's the gay flag, but it's got that little it's got the blue little inset with the 50 stars.
Nice.
And so they're trying to promote this as the American flag, which I just think is great. It's so funny.
You know Lex, right?
This will get people unnerved.
Hey, you know Lex, right? My first boss, my friend who has all the Warhols, the big Warhol collection. And so I'm at his house yesterday, his country house, and he's like, "Man, when I heard that they're banning the Confederate flag, I bought 5 of them right away." He's collecting them. He's like, and he said, "I'm looking for an ISIS flag, so I can get you that." He's a flag.
Yeah, that would collector. Be an art collector would do that. That's the first thing you think of.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I saw one version of the flag without the stars. They removed the stars, and then they had 2 female symbols. You know, there's circles with this thing going down with a cross on it. It's like an upside down cross. And they had the 2 symbols overlapping each other, meaning like gay marriage or 2 women together. But they didn't have one with the two symbols of the 2 guys.
Really?
And I thought this was offensive personally, even though I'm not gay.
Yeah.
But I found it very offensive that they would it's always for the women. But so I asked Brooks, this was a number of years ago. I said, when I was a kid, I remember
we called gays faggots.
When I was a kid, it used to be GLBT. It was gay, lesbians, bi, transgender. It was G. It started with a G. And you can look this up in old newspapers.
Oh, yes. No, the lesbians took over.
And then I said, when did this switch? I said, you're gay?
Did you say it like that? You're gay? Like he has herpes?
No, I didn't say it like that.
You're gay?
When did it switch? And he said, I noticed it too. And I'm wondering myself.
Hey, I'm shocked.
So what is this all about? When did it become LG instead of GL? And when did that flag show up with the 2 women symbols instead of 2 men? I think that men that are gay, they should take note of this. I don't know what you can do about it.
You know,
maybe too late.
What I understand from insider sources, that would be my daughter, is there is a very deeply rooted aversion between gay guys and gay women. And gay guys can be really mean. But Christina worked at Out TV for a while here. She was doing segments and stuff. And a lot of guys are running the show there. And there was maybe 2 other girls, gay girls were there. But yeah, Christina doesn't even identify as gay. But for ease of conversation, let me put it that way. And she said she had to quit. She said, the gay guys were so mean to us. And because when they outnumbered them. And I think the opposite is also true. That
we know that in the Department of Homeland Security.
Thank you. But yes, where there were lawsuits over how these, I just have to say, bull dykes, because look at Lucy Napolitano, formerly known as Janet, and her girlfriend or whatever, or lieutenant, or both. What's the difference? And they were putting guys' desks and they had to sit in the restroom. They were saying, I'm gonna do you, and all kinds of horrible things. Not that the guys hated if women say that, but have you seen Janet Napolitano? No. You will not be doing me.
Anyway, something's up. It's a rift.
It is.
I think it's a continuous rift.
It's a rift, an aversion. So maybe we'll have a showdown.
A war.
It's the gays against the lesbians. Nice. We could make a TV show out of that one.
Yeah, we can make a TV show out of almost anything.
Yeah, we're that good.
We're that good.
We're that good. So there's a lot more going on about this decision. I just picked up a couple things. Let me see. This is Larry Wilmore. What is this show? I don't know what this is on. It's on
Larry
late night.
Wilmore is the guy who I think he's got his own show now, but he was one of their sidekicks for Jon Stewart.
Ah, yes, that's the guy. He has a show, but I don't know what it's on. It's poorly identified.
It's got to be on the Comedy Network.
Probably Comedy Central. Yes.
Didn't he take over Colbert's old show?
Is this the show he's taken over with?
Yeah, he took over Colbert, and then that African kid, the African comic, who's hilarious, by the way, took over Stewart's show.
Okay. Well, this is Larry Wilmore, and has the obvious question what goes along with our artwork.
Do you think we'll ever see a day when we'll have a gay president who is married? Gay married? Is that the right term? Do you think we'll see that in our lifetime? Because people said, I didn't think I'd see a black president in my lifetime.
Right. I think so. I travel around talking to college kids all the time, and they're some of the most impressive, liberal, progressive young people. And I think that some of them they're studying politics.
I do. Do you think that there is a gay or trans kid who will have 20s boring enough to be able to run for president when they are 40?
It's a sad state of affairs, John.
Well, I think the ones who are not on Snapchat may be able to.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Exactly. Then we had the geriatric crowd, and boy, they are looking pretty old. I don't want to be ageist, but the McLaughlin group, they do this top shot.
McLaughlin looks like a zombie. I don't like to be ageist either, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But McLaughlin, what is he, 90?
Well, it's not so much McLaughlin, but it's Eleanor. She has a bent over back, like a real old lady, and she's sitting in the chair and she's all hunched over. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Some bone medicine.
Yeah. She should call the seed guy for boner medicine.
No, bone.
Bone medicine. I'm sorry. And this, of course, they ask the obvious question.
Do you think polygamy is next in line for legitimation?
Oh. What?
I knew you'd love that. How can I legitimize the legitimation, my brother? Did McLaughlin take Ebonics all of a sudden? Legitimation. I'm telling you, there's some legitimation going on here.
Do you think polygamy is next in line for legitimation?
Is that an actual word? Is that an okay word to use?
I think you use legitimization.
Look it up. Legitimation.
I don't think it's right. I think he just said hell with this. Life's too short to
let's end this show already. I'm going to start concatenating words.
Oh. And he's currently, guess his age?
I'm going to say 82.
88.
Dang, you're right. He's almost 90. Well, God bless him.
Yeah, a couple more years, he'll be 90 doing the show. They can't get him off the air.
Now, did you look up legitimate?
I'm not looking up legitimate. I don't care.
Do you think polygamy...
What's her name again?
Eleanor.
Eleanor...
Clift.
Eleanor what?
Clift.
Do you think polygamy is...
He's a constitutional lawyer.
Next in line for legitimation?
Or
polyandry?
I, on one level, I hope so, because I would like to live long enough to see that happen. That would add a lot to my life, is all I can say.
Now, dude, please, Mr. Cialis.
It's Eleanor's age.
Eleanor I think she's like maybe 72.
74.
Yeah. Well, she needs boner pills.
It's more. I mean, I think that would be quite an interesting.
No, that's a legitimate argument. I mean, Scalia brought that up way back over a dozen years ago with the Texas gay cohabitation case.
Judge Alito, in his questioning, because they've been playing the oral arguments. I mean, he said, "What if two men and two women came? Could they get together?" And he also suggested, what if they were all lawyers? Does that make them a natural grouping? I mean, it was rather bizarre.
In the early to mid 80s, I wrote an op-ed at the San Francisco Examiner when it was a real newspaper, promoting the idea of polygamy, because there's no real reason not to allow it. The reason it's illegal, as far as I'm concerned, is it's a construct because it becomes extremely complicated to get divorces. Because one gets divorced, and what do they do? Sue the whole group, or what's community?
Which is exactly why
community property is impossible.
But isn't this exactly why I'd expect the legal system to be very happy to get this going, because they could be in business for years?
Well, there's that element.
Huh.
But I don't see any reason why you can't have multiple partners married.
Yes, multiple wives. I think multiple wives.
Maybe a combination of two husbands and 6 women, or one woman and 5 guys. I mean, there's a lot of...
Well, John, you are just talking crazy. You are talking the devil, my friend. Yes, you are. And there is a man who will tell you that you're talking the language of the devil. Because this is what the gays want, John. This is what the gays want. There is a television show on a network in the United States of Apple Pie America where we broadcast the 700 Club. The 700 Club is run by that fantastic preacher, Pat Robertson. Amen. Church, can I have an amen? And Pat speaks the word of the Lord.
Pizzas, I think, you might as well keep your mouth shut. I'm not sure I would serve pizzas for a gay wedding. Well, most gays, if they're having a wedding, don't want pizzas. They want cake.
That's right. Gays don't like... What? Gays like cake. They don't want pizza. Like, I'm doing a pizza run. Can I just have some cake? No, Pat Robertson.
This is a clip of the day. Gays like cake. Okay, before you go on, I want you to keep playing whatever you got there, because I know it's always good, because he's great. Couple of questions. Guess his age.
Pat Robertson?
Yeah.
85. Did I nail it?
Nailed it.
Yeah. I've gotten really good because, chicks be hitting on me. I got to see if they're not too old.
He's 80, and his real name is Marion. Marion Gordon.
Marion, what? His last name's not even Robertson?
No, it's Marion Gordon Robertson.
We'll just call it Marion. Marion, do you want some cake? What an idiot. Gays don't want pizza.
They don't want pizza.
They want cake because that's the gay way.
Pizzas, I think, you might as well keep your mouth shut. I'm not sure I would serve pizzas for a gay wedding. Well, most gays, if they're having a wedding, don't want pizzas. They want cake.
Cake.
It's the cake makers that are having the problem.
That's right.
But... let me tell you, it doesn't matter what custom you've got. It doesn't matter what holy thing that you worship and adore. The gays are going to get it. They're going to make you conform to them. You're going to say you like anal sex.
Okay, hold on a second, big boy. The gays are going to make me say I like anal sex.
You like oral sex.
I like oral sex.
You like bestiality.
Hell yeah, nigga.
You like anything you can think of, whatever it is, and sooner or later...
Bestiality?
Yes. Oh, there's a lot of bestiality going on in the world. Oh, yeah. 2 words, peanut butter.
You have to conform your religious beliefs to the group of some aberrant thing.
Aberrant.
It won't stop at homosexuality.
Oh, first of all, he says, I would say abhorrent, but he says aberrant.
No, aberrant and abhorrent are 2 different words.
Oh, what does aberrant mean?
Aberrant means the deviant.
Oh, of course.
Abhorrent means horrible.
See, should have used
different words.
Abhorrent would have been better. Aberrant. Okay, deviant.
We've got what's called polyamory. Well, what about that? Well, what about polygamy, where you've got multiple wives?
Polygamy or polygayu?
How can we say that one is constitutional, the other's not? And then
that's what I say.
Yeah, he's agreeing with you, but that's the dog of the devil.
Say,
they've gotten to you already, John.
What's so terrible about having sex with animals?
Nothing.
Well, that's going to come next. You watch it down the road, and Christians are going to be saying, "Well, you're intolerant. You're trying to mitigate against these nice people who like dogs. What's wrong with you?
You like a dog? You're crazy.
No, what's wrong with somebody who wants 10 wives, 5 wives,
Nothing.
4 wives?
Smart man with a big paycheck.
What's wrong with you? The Muslims have 4 wives.
Yeah.
And the latest thing, of course, we've known about it in the Quran. They don't like fornication. As a matter of fact, they'll stone people, kill them.
So the Quran says if you fornicate, they'll kill you.
For fornication.
Is that true? Is that out of wedlock? Is that the deal?
Stoned.
But at the same time, if a guy sees a woman and he's attracted to her and he's not married to her, he will say, I want to get married to you. And so they perform a quickie ceremony. She becomes his wife. They perform sexual acts together. When it's all finished, he says, I don't really think I want to be married to you anymore. And he says, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you 3 times, and the marriage is terminated.
This is fantastic. If only I had known this, I would have married my wives under the Nation of Islam.
Well,
I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you.
It's not considered legal process here in the US of A. You'd have to be in Saudi Arabia or someplace to pull that off.
Oh.
But it would work there, I think. I know Pakistan, I think it
click
works.
my heels 3 times and say there's no place like home.
No problem.
No problem.
No offense, no foul.
No.
That's in the book.
Yep.
And so they go off scot-free.
Scot-free.
It is a weird world we're living in. And just, ladies and gentlemen, please know that your deeply held Christian beliefs are going to be under assault in every single phase of your life. And it's going to get more intense, and it's going to be more intense than Israel. So just get ready for it.
Yeah. I'm ready for my anal sex, Pat. When does this start?
Any minute.
Do I still get clip of the day?
It started with the... Well, you know, you kind of had me at the beginning of this as clip of the day, and then it kind of petered out as he started beating the horse.
So to speak.
Clubbing it.
So to speak.
Yeah, he's beating, so to speak. He's beating the horse, and so you lost clip of the day.
All right.
You oversold it.
I didn't even sell. wasn't even expecting it.
Well.
Anyway, there is something very disturbing that's going on. Along with this messaging. Actually, no. First, I will go to Joe Scarborough. He's the Morning Joseph, along with the Brzezinski New World Order child, Mika. Mika. And good analysis. I thought very fair from Joe. And we probably should listen to the president when he was running the first time for president for a little context.
Pizzas, I think.
Oh, that is not the right clip, obviously.
Define marriage.
I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, For me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union.
Yay.
God's in the mix.
Oh. He's DJ on the wheels of steel, ladies and gentlemen. I almost wanted to bring God out, but we have to remember God is in the mix. He can do it in the mix.
But
would you support a constitutional amendment with that definition?
No, I would not.
Why not?
And because historically we have not defined marriage in our Constitution. It's been a matter of state law. That has been our tradition. I mean, let's break it down. The reason that people think there needs to be a constitutional amendment, some people believe, is because of the concern that about same-sex marriage. I am not somebody who promotes same-sex marriage, but I do believe in civil unions. I do believe that we should not, that for gay partners to want to visit each other in a hospital, for the state to say, you know what, that's all right. I don't think in any way inhibits my core beliefs about what marriage are. I think my faith is strong enough and my marriage is strong enough that I can afford those civil rights to others, even if I have a different perspective or a different view.
Okay, how about this?
So I chose this clip specifically.
So then he lights up the White House.
Yes. Then I chose this clip specifically because he mentioned states' rights, which is really what this is about, I think. And there are other clips of him saying, I'm against gay marriage. But Joe Scarborough did something interesting, and he brought this around to a history lesson about where the president stood as recent as 2012, and not January. So this is not even 3 years ago, on gay marriage and the hypocrisy that is surrounding this national conversation.
Yeah, everybody talks about how fast this goes, and they go back to 2004, and the Republicans just go back to the President of the United States that we saw here celebrating in 2015, scared to death in 2012 to get out front and say anything other than he opposed same-sex marriage. Let's just please, everybody, be clear-eyed about this, because I saw a lot of people in the White House saying, look what we did. Oh, it's amazing over 8 years. So the Republicans are now taking...
And you know it's exactly how they sounded, too, right? Look what we did. Exactly. Light it up, bitches. Woo! Hey, transgender lady of color was an immigrant with a wooden leg. Screw you!
To be honest, intellectually, Barack Obama's position in 2012 in his last presidential campaign until Joe Biden embarrassed him and made him come out.
Exactly.
I agree. Both sides need to show.
Remember that? You remember that? Where Joe did that interview and he said, I'm all for gay, same-sex marriage or gay marriage. And then the president had to quickly arrange an interview with Robin from ABC to say, I'm all in on this. This is all good. Don't you remember that?
I do remember it vaguely.
Joe spilled the beans. I wonder, we must have a clip from it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, there's a lot of, it's an interesting, the situation had to be resolved. I think the Supreme Court did the right thing.
Well,
the problem with states' rights when you're looking at gay marriage is that you're married, a gay couple's married. If it's allowed in one state and then it's allowed in 10 states, and so you're married in North Dakota, let's say, and you go to South Dakota where it's illegal, and you don't, it just doesn't make any sense. You're married, you're not married. You're married, you're married. Well, let's move to South Dakota. We're not married.
Sure.
Go away. I mean, It's just, she has no rights or he has no rights here.
John, I'm not arguing against that. However, there is an agenda, whether it was designed previously or whether it was concocted along the way or just cropped up now. There is an agenda which fits in so perfectly with, my favorite. Republicans hate gays, hate black people. They just hate the government. They love the church. They're religious nut jobs. They're Republicans. They like guns. They're crazy. Just crazy fuckers, these Republicans. Crazy! So this is how it's now being spun. This is Jeffrey Toobin.
Well, before you go on with that, we've discussed this before, and this is the reason I believe it was passed in the Supreme Court the way it was with the conservatives on the side of legalizing it. It takes the issue off the table for the 2016 election. You can now go on and on like this, whatever this clip is, or these other guys can bitch about the Republicans being a bunch of gay haters, but this issue is off the table. And so now nobody can call out their you want gay marriage? No, I don't think so.
Oh, ye of little faith, John.
It's off the table.
Oh, ye of little faith. You can trust Jeffrey Toobin. What does he do again? Does he work for the Times or something?
He's just another one of them.
Oh.
The Loving decision, the 1960s, is cited repeatedly in Justice Kennedy's opinion last week. And a lot of the same justifications were used for banning interracial marriage, that God didn't intend for the races to marry. And there was a lot of objection. In fact, public opinion polls were more opposed to interracial marriage than they are opposed to same-sex marriage today. But the court was very clear that this is now the law of the land, and people had to comply.
Well, I mean, using that argument, though, could then, based on what the Texas Attorney General said, could, if that woman decided she didn't like interracial marriages, and there's no, obviously she has not taken that position, but if a public official says, I don't like interracial marriages, it goes against my religious beliefs, my reading of the Bible, can I ignore the Supreme Court ruling on this?
Ted Cruz was asked that exact question today by Samantha Guthrie on the Today Show, and he ducked it.
Well, of course,
because it's exactly a parallel situation, and they don't want to. The opponents of the Supreme Court decision don't want to answer that question because interracial marriage is now so accepted in our society and so recognized as something that only really bigoted people oppose. They don't want to draw the parallel, but the parallel is precise.
The parallel is precise. If you hate gays, you hate black people.
Well, this is like a stretch. I mean, I know what they're up to.
Put it in the book, Dvorak. It's coming.
It's not in the. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It could be coming. It's not going to work. And let me bring up another point that keeps cropping up, which is, we're going to be forced. The Catholic Church is going to be in, let's say, in anywhere, Louisiana.
Yeah,
is going to be forced to do gay marriage. I don't know how that works, because it seems to me that the church can marry whoever they feel like or not marry whoever they feel like. We both have a minister's license to marry people.
Yes, sir.
from the Universal Life
We are
Church.
men of the cloth.
But if two gays come walking up the street and they say to me, hey, we want to get married, you have to marry us, to me.
I'd say, you're right.
I would say, I haven't got time for this. No.
Well, your reasoning is different.
Is the judge going to, you have to marry them?
Yes,
Bull
we'll
crap.
force you. We'll
I don't
force
have to
you.
marry anybody.
You will be forced. We're going to feed you rectally until you do it.
So there's I think this whole thing is, they just blow over by the election date, I hope.
There was a pretty funny piece on, what's Chuck Todd? Is Chuck Todd NBC?
Chuck Todd is MSNBC, I think,
Chuck
or
Todd.
NBC.
Chuck Todd.
And he is an ex-spokeshole for one of the presidents.
Yeah, Chuck Todd. Everybody, Chuck Todd. And so just to accentuate, people who hate gays and people who hate gay marriage and people who want, cake instead of pizza. I'm sorry, pizza instead of cake. And people who love guns and, the Republicans. Where do you think these people live in America?
America. They all live in mansions.
Yes.
Nobody likes to feel like they're on the losing side of anything. But cultural conservatives who mostly live in rural America have found themselves on the losing side a lot this week.
Oh, rural America, baby. Hey, rural America. Rural.
With hit after hit favoring a progressive tide. Highlighting the
progressive tide.
Progressive tide.
The progressive tide.
Progressive tide?
It's the progressive tide, baby. Well, you're going to hear all about it. It's all about last week. The progressive tide was flowing last week.
The divide between urban and rural America. It all started Wednesday when Congress decided to hand President Obama a big victory when it comes to trade by paving the way for the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. About a third of Americans...
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
That was voted for 100% by the Republicans. It was the Republicans were behind that.
Yeah, but rural America not. Rural America. Rural America. So this is how you discredit an entire party who by saying, they're rural America. They don't like it.
Well, the Hicks,
rural America.
Decided to hand President Obama a big victory.
These are all Democrats, people.
When it comes to trade, by paving the way for the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. About a third of Americans overall in our latest poll said free trade hurts the United States. But in rural America, the view on trade is even more pessimistic. Half say trade hurts.
Crazy. Wow. Rural America. Rural America.
Many rural Americans pined for the day when a small factory was the local economic engine. Of course, those days are long gone.
What is this tribal beat crap that they have under this report? What is going on with that?
Going on in the background. He's making a bunch of assertions that are nonsense. And he's besmirching an entire population.
Rural.
Because those days are over.
Rural people are stupid.
There was a day when you had free speech. Those days are over.
They're stupid.
Thursday came the Supreme Court's ruling upholding subsidies.
Hey, is Austin rural America? I'm rural America, aren't I?
I don't know what his definition of rural America is.
Rural.
In the Affordable Care Act. And when it comes to the health care law as a whole, the country has been evenly split on whether to keep the law or eliminate it.
However,
but in rural America, there's no waffling. 2/3 say the law needs to either have major changes or simply be scrapped altogether.
Let's kill them all in rural America. What is he advocating?
Bomb rural America.
And then on Friday, the court ruled same-sex marriage legal nationwide. Well, guess what? A majority of Americans supported the action that the court took, except in one area of the country. That's right, you guessed it, rural America.
Rural America.
Where support sits just under 50% at 46. Now, many in rural America may look at this week and see America changing in ways they aren't ready to embrace. And if history is any guide, there is going to be a backlash to this rapid social change. Is it a lasting backlash that powers a conservative political movement, a la the silent majority of the 70s, or is the backlash temporary?
Yeah, I know. Rural America. Let's ask rural America. So this was code. There was a big campaign that came together, and it was the best week ever campaign. Best week ever. Last week, best week. His best week. And I didn't catch the campaign. I didn't string it all together until I heard the president.
In terms of my best week. Now, my best week.
My best week. Oh! My best week.
I will tell you.
Listen to the media.
Wow.
Go ahead.
I'm stunned that he would make an assertion like that.
Oh, wait until you hear all of it.
In terms of my best week. Now, my best week I will tell you, was marrying Michelle. That was a really good week. Malia and Sasha being born, excellent weeks.
Always marry up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a game where I scored 27 points. That was a pretty good week.
That was a great week.
I've had some good weeks in my life, I will tell you, and I'm blessed to have had those.
No. Hey.
So there he is spiking the football because he knows that the media is all in on his best week ever.
Last week.
Oh, wait. This is another piece of his best week.
I had a chance to do the Rose Garden celebration of the court decision around same-sex marriage. I did not have a chance to comment on how good the White House looked in rainbow colors. That made it a really good week.
A really good week. Let's go to CBS.
We turn now to what many consider to be perhaps the best week of President Obama's second term.
Mm-hmm.
The week began with a victory on Pacific Rim trade, with the Senate giving Obama the green light to move forward in negotiations with 11 other countries.
Best week ever! Best week!
Thursday, the Supreme Court upheld the Affordable Care Act for the second time in 3 years. The next day, the court delivered a historic decision for gay rights, ruling 5-4 that the Constitution requires that same-sex couples be allowed to marry no matter where they live. And the week culminated with the president's stirring eulogy for the slain pastor and parishioners of the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church
dead man.
in Charleston, South Carolina.
Dead
it
man.
has been an uneven presidency. But there did seem something special about this week.
I think going to Ed's point, it was a fabulous week.
Just fabulous. It was, John, how was that week?
It was fabulous.
I could not believe it. And now this week we're talking about last week.
So in many ways, last week was simply a culmination of a lot of work that we've been doing since I came into office. How am I going to spend whatever political capital that I've built up? The list is long, and my instructions to my team and my...
He's nasal today. You hear that?
Yeah, too much of the... Yeah, too much of you know what.
My instructions to myself have always been that we are going to squeeze...
Too much celebrating.
I'd like my instructions to myself. Hello, self. It's Barack. Hey, what's up, Barry? What's up, Barry? Hey. Here's an instruction. Oh, okay, let me get a pen.
The list is long, and my instructions to my team and my instructions to myself have always been that we are going to squeeze every last ounce of progress that we can make when I have the privilege as long as I have the privilege of holding this office. There are going to be ups and there are going to be downs, but as long as my focus and my team's focus is on what is going to make a difference in the lives of ordinary Americans. Are we going to give them more opportunity so that if they work hard, they can get ahead?
Okay.
Are we going to make this a more inclusive economy, a more inclusive society, a more fair, just society? If that's our North Star, I have two words for you: predator drones. And we keep on tacking in that direction. We're going to make progress.
Tacking.
Yeah, I feel pretty excited about it.
Tacking.
So I might.
I don't see any.
Wait, you stepped on the punchline.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I feel pretty excited about it. So I might see if we can make next week even better.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. I'm sorry I stepped on that beautiful.
Well, it would have been better if. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
That's okay. Play this clip of mine.
Is it called Clip of Mine?
Obama Uncertain Terms.
Okie dokie.
Today we can say, in no uncertain terms, that we've made our union a little more perfect.
Where'd you get? That's cool with the music. Where'd you get that from?
I don't know. It was in the clip file, and I couldn't figure out where it came from. But
I like it.
Play it again, because there's something I had a reason to want to play this. I think it's the phrase "in no uncertain terms."
Today we can say, in no uncertain terms, that we've made our union a little more perfect.
A little more. Okay, here's what with no uncertain terms is what he says.
Yes.
And then he gives us an uncertain term.
Yeah, you're right.
He says no uncertain terms. Then he follows that with an uncertain term.
A little more. Yeah,
a little more.
Let's hear that again.
Today, we can say, in no uncertain terms, that we've made our union a little more perfect.
Nice. End of show clip. I'll put that in. Nice.
Idiot.
Good one. Good one.
No uncertain terms.
I like it. All
right, enough bashing the president. We get criticized for bashing the president.
He's on a tear. And by the way, this is the new guy. This is Obama. This is the other Obama. So when
that's what happened. They swapped the guy out. The real Obama's with Michelle. Yeah. She's gallivanting around the world on the big jet.
Yeah.
Wasting taxpayers' money, vacationing with her mom.
Well, that's not true. She was with the Girl Scouts in the garden.
Well, she's also heading here and she's heading there.
Yeah. If there was a funny little bit on just going one quick clip about how crazy Republicans are. This is Jon Stewart with New York State Senator Kristen Gillibrand.
Oh, Gillibrand.
Gillibrand. She be Gillin. Gillibrand be Gillin. I thought it was pretty funny what Stewart did here, but it just kind of shows.
Is our government just too big to manage now? Is that the problem? Is it just everything just slips under the thing? Should we just? I don't understand what is the issue.
The issue is people in Congress are in a bubble, and they don't have a lot of empathy for regular working families.
But I think people in Congress means Republicans. Don't you think that's what she means?
I think that's what she means.
Is it
because they run Congress? They're
running the show. Yeah.
At a certain point, you just think, are they like rapacious social Darwinian caricatures of villains? Like, I almost think, are they like Dickensian Scrooges? Like, I don't mind people being responsible with taxpayer money. Like, that's important to manage efficiencies. But this idea of like food stamps, then everybody's just going to go out and buy shrimp and sit around and drink Mai Tais. Like,
yes, it's a lack of empathy, and most members of Congress don't even realize that if you're on the minimum wage, you're under the poverty line.
Is it pathological though? Like, do you think they have mental problems?
No, I think they're out of touch. I think most members are out of touch.
Mental problems. There you go.
It's a good one.
Mental.
They're doing everything they can. It's all going to work against them.
Oh yeah.
As my theory continues. By the way, Hillary just broke a record. I think I might as well play this clip.
Oh, what happened?
Well, it should be Hillary breaks record.
Democrat Hillary Clinton's campaign said today that it took in more than $45 million in the second quarter. That eclipses a record set by President Obama in 2011. Clinton formally announced her bid in April.
It's interesting that you have this clip because I got... someone subscribed me to the, let's clam bump for Hillary email list, whatever it was.
And ready for Hillary.
Right. And subscribed me as Mimi. Very funny. Ha, 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 ha.
I think that was me.
Really? Here, I got one that was, I'm looking for it now. It was really Mimi. I was a little nervous when we set a goal of 50,000 grassroots donations by tonight, but we only have 2,109 to go. We have until midnight to show people what this campaign is made of. Chip in $1. Chip in $1 to join the team that's going to get us there. Link.
Yeah, that's a test, by the way.
And then thanks so much, Hillary. Hey, I don't want to be talked to by my future president like that. Chip in. Is that going to be her thing? Hey, everyone's got to chip in now.
You got to chip in.
Chip in.
There is a bunch of testing that's started. I think it started in 2012 where they're testing these low amounts.
Mm-hmm.
And they pretty much determined it was $3. So they would send out all these emails asking for $3. Just $3. It's just $3. Anyone can afford $3. Of course, it was to put you on the suckers list. And
the one who we email the sucker stuff?
Well, then the suckers list is then you get hounded daily.
Oh,
now, but I think they keep testing these low numbers, and I think you're probably part of a test. I'm sure somebody else got an email asking for $2 and another one for $3.
Right? Should I respond?
That's 1, 2, and 3.
Should I chip in?
4.
Should I chip in?
Well, you should. Yeah, actually, if it's only $1, you should chip in and see what happens.
Okay, Mimi.
They may be sending a hooker over for all you know.
I'm in. can't believe you subscribe me to the list as Mimi. What kind of, you're a douche.
Well, just change it to your name.
Yeah. I
mean, it doesn't. They don't pay any attention anyway.
Yeah.
I had another. Now, there's one Hillary clip that I have that brought an interesting point, which I don't know why I hadn't thought of this. But play this. This is on Sean Hannity, which is harder to listen to begin with. But he had a guy on there, just wrote a book called The Queen, which is about Hillary. This guy hates her.
Got to read it. It's on the list.
Yeah, The Queen. And he makes an observation that I didn't think of, you didn't think of, or at least I don't know that you have. It was an eye roller because, of course, I maintain, even though she collected $45 million in the last quarter, and she'll probably walk away with $1 billion, I still maintain that Elizabeth Warren will be the next president.
God forbid. That sounds like a lie to me. I think David Axelrod lied. Rombo Deadfish knew about it. Podesta knew about it. Lanny Davis apparently knew about the account. They all knew about it, right?
Well, Sean, I was the guy who asked Bill Daley on Meet the Press if he knew about the server. He said no. I was on the set when David Axelrod was asked by Meek in response to my comments about the server. He said no. I can believe they didn't know about the server because it's so reckless. It endangered the national security.
But they knew about the email account, and they denied knowing it. They knew about the
email. Yeah. But Axelrod was asked specifically about the server that morning. So I don't want to turn away from the fact that Hillary's server is the issue. Mike Morrell told me on my show, I'm sure he told you as well, Sean, the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, they all knew about Hillary's server. They all compromised it. They have all the emails that we're getting in drips and drabs from the State Department, and they even have the ones that she erased, her Nixon tapes emails.
I'm willing to raise some money and go to the Chinese and Vladimir Putin. I'd be willing to buy all the emails. I'm willing to raise a significant amount of money. What?
Yeah, Democrats have to worry about them being released in the middle of the campaign by Guccifer and by other people that had previously given them to Gawker and by Foreign Intelligence Agency, because they're out there.
The old blackmail.
Yeah.
Nice.
Exactly.
Huh.
And I don't know why we
didn't think of that. And they have the deleted emails. That's cool.
Because we know the Russians have already pulled a stunt by running through WikiLeaks that information about the NSA spying on the French. Well, of course, we know that the Russians did it. We don't have any proof. It's just so logical. And no one's talked about it, but we have. And the Russians are the ones that are getting, they're doing their spy craft. They're not slouches.
Yeah, they did this.
We know that had to be a Russian tap. Oh, yeah. That wasn't anything from anyone else who would do it. And so the Russians are sitting on these Hillary emails. They know what happened.
That's why he's smirking.
And they're just waiting. Oh. Of course, they'll, if Hillary decides to tell them in advance somehow that she's going to play ball, but she's not. She's going. What she's going to do? She's going to talk tough.
Unless one of the emails is a little tete-a-tete love back and forth between her and Uma Abedin.
That would be a nice one.
Hey, baby. Been thinking about you tonight. Emoji heart, emoji kiss lips, emoji eye hearts. emoji skiing, emoji surfing, emoji zucchini, emoji teardrops.
I like the emoji zucchini.
Well, you put
that fits right in.
No,
there.
If you do emoji teardrops and followed by emoji zucchini, it's kind of funny.
Okay, well,
you should try it. You should try it. Okay, it's a no agenda sexting tip.
Now,
so
this is the twist that we have not considered. We have to put it in our arsenal of considerations for analyzing the news.
Yes, I like it.
And I was very taken back by that.
We should have been on that. I agree.
Yeah, we should have said that immediately.
Of course, we caught the Trump fire as the first backlash against Herr Donald, my pick, my friend, my guy, and then we got this.
You're fired. NBC turned the tables on Trump today, announcing it would no longer air his Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants, and that it would explore ways to produce Trump's long-running show, The Apprentice, without him. A coalition of Latino groups had petitioned NBC to fire Trump for what they called his disgusting views about immigrants. Democrats are just as determined to keep Hispanics in their camp. Hillary Clinton featured immigrants in her campaign announcement video and mentions them frequently on the campaign trail.
The numbers are growing. In 2012, Mitt Romney won among whites but lost 3/4 of Hispanic voters and lost the election.
Be careful, Donald. You could lose the election. So I'm pretty sure that the truth is somewhere in the middle. I know that Trump said previously, last time he didn't run, he said that he would quit his TV show if he ran for president. So he's kind of saying the same thing now. And if you look, the contracts were already set a long time ago. But the Miss Universe and Miss USA pageants, they maybe just I'm sure they wanted to get rid of it. The ratings, I mean, the whole backlash, the whole women thing. It's really not fit for the mainstream media anymore with all of the equal opportunity. I mean, it's objectifying women. We say this all. I'm always flabbergasted. Why
you hate to see women in bathing suits?
This is not true. This is completely. You lie. No, I love that. I love the show. I love your analysis of the show.
I love to listen to the dummies.
Luckily, we like the political angle of it. There's nice things in there, and you always describe the women quite well.
Mm-hmm.
It's talent. It takes talent to do that. But it's found a new home.
Which one should have won? I always like to bitch about that. And of course, then again, I'm only seeing it on television, and you don't know what they look like in person. Some women are very telegenic, and then in person they're just meh.
Well,
so you have to be there.
Good news, John. The Miss USA pageant has found a new home at Reels.
Oh, Reels.
Yeah, Reels.
Huh.
Yep. So that's good news.
I'd pay top dollar.
Sure, why not? For them, it would be a good get.
Yeah, Reels needs something to draw.
I mean, it doesn't cost a lot to produce this thing. It's all sponsored. It's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good deal. No, I don't see a problem at all.
What about Miss Universe?
Yeah, no word yet. That'll find a home. I'm sure. Okay. Where were we?
Okay, here's a clip. Play this clip. This is a clip that was in the clip file. This is the reason I try to do my clips in the morning. I have no idea what this clip is about.
Okay.
But I think it must, since I put it in here and I took it off the internets, it must be good. But it's Jalen's hair.
Jalen's hair. Okay.
The parents of an African-American kindergarten student kicked out of a Belmont classroom because of his haircut have filed a federal civil rights complaint. This is the haircut. The Archdiocese responded tonight telling us it has not seen the complaint, but that the school hair policy is explicit. ABC 7 News reporter Vic Lee with the story you'll see only on ABC 7 News.
This is 6-year-old Jalen Broussard. Last December, he went to his kindergarten class at the Immaculate Heart of Mary School with a new hairdo. It's called a faded cut, slightly longer at the top and short on the sides.
He was excited. He had chosen this haircut. He was really excited about it because they usually go either bald or short afro. So he was excited to have something different.
That excitement suddenly turned to tears. His mother, Mariana Broussard, got a call from his teacher saying his haircut violated school policy.
Violation! She said, well, in these situations, it's much better that the child be removed from the school environment so they're not an undue influence on the rest of the school population.
Yeah, I agree.
Broussard had no choice but to take Jalen home. She got his hair cut, but in the meantime, Broussard kept asking school officials why. The school policy banned extreme hairstyles, faux hawks, tails, spiking, and such, but mentioned nothing that looked like this. Plus, there were other students who maybe should have been questioned, too.
This is a long report, John.
Yeah, you can stop it.
Okay.
So this is a classic. They don't want the 6-year-old to contribute undue influence on the other kids with his haircut, which is when I first saw it, I said, this is not an unusual haircut. It's not like it was a big mohawk or anything. It was just a normal, very close cut, very close cropped with a little closer on the sides than the top. That's it. This is the kind of nuttiness that's going on. Anyway, I hope they sue them and get all their money.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
We have a few people to thank for show 735.
Yep.
On our way towards 736, toward 800. Towards 750. That'll be a good show. 750. We should celebrate that.
I'd like to.
Stuart, don't you think?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
750 is good. Mm-hmm. Stuart Allen in Trommensburg, New York, came in with $111.40. Lori Baker, $100. R.D. Swart. I don't know.
It's R. de Zwart.
R. de Swart.
In Almelo.
7777.
Rudy de Zwart.
He says long overdue for a donation.
Rudy de Zwart.
Oh, he's Rudy.
Rudy.
Sir Thomas Nussbaum.
Hey.
There we go. This is these are
the trader. He's a trader. No, he's not a trader. I'm sorry.
I think he was. And he's turned back.
He's a turncoat.
He said he made a mistake.
Turncoat. What was the American the celebration day again? What was it? 1st of July or something?
It was Nussbaum who said that.
Sir Nussbaum, what are you doing?
So here, and I'm going to list off the Americans that take. This is our 1812 Battle Royale. $74.15.
Hold on a second, John. I'm pissed at myself now. I'm so sorry. The 1812 Battle Royale.
There you go. Record that. The 1812 Battle Royale between the United States and Canada, which was British at the time, and they burnt down Washington D.C., which was then called the City of Washington, in 1814. They just burned it to the ground. Burned the White House and laughed all the time. Oh, we burned it down. And then they went back.
We burned it down.
They're laughing and laughing. So we're reenacting this in some virtual space with donations that benefit the No Agenda show, which
virtual
is good
space
for both countries.
This is the 1812 space.
The 1812 space. So I'm gonna read off the list of people who
I gotta
voted.
Smoke a joint now. This is too fun.
Who voted for the 7415 donation? Each one of these 7415: Sir Thomas Nussbaum, Sir Mad Hatter in Fairfield, Connecticut, Sir Festus in Vallejo, up here in Vallejo, California, Edward Siemens in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Joel Blazik at Parts Unknown, Sir Hank Viscount of Queens in Kew Gardens, New York. I guess it's Tice Hamming Inc.
Almost. Tice
Hamming.
I would say Hamming.
Hamming.
He's in South Dakota.
Harvey Lee in Federal Way, Washington. Robert Smiley.
Wait, you missed Charles.
I'm sorry, Charles Brochetti.
He also has a call out.
And he has a call out he's in South Korea, so he gets a call out because he says my brother-in-law has been listening faithfully for 7 months, but my brother-in-law Mike Cully turned me on to you guys years ago, but I only listen sporadically. However, now I cannot live without you guys, and I want you to call out Mike and tell him to donate. He's a long-time listener, but never donated.
Oh my goodness,
douchebag. Robert Smiley in Holland, Pennsylvania, 7415. Raleigh Hawk in Anna, Illinois. Boink, boink.
Yeah, read this note. This is from Vicky. She sent a nice note.
Vicky Avery. She's over here in San Francisco. Now, that was the end of it, by the way. That was the end of the American side of the battle.
What's the tally there, John, in the war?
Well, let me see. I have to count it.
Yeah.
Why don't you count it while I read the note?
Oh, man.
You can give me a total. I want to thank my husband, Matt, for hitting me in the mouth last year by making a birthday donation in his honor at the best podcast in the universe. We commute together in our family business in San Francisco and enjoy listening to the podcast on the drive. As selfish as this is, let me say that your two shows are perfect for us, so don't cut back on the showtime.
Okay.
They say that opposites attract, and that is not true about it. Oh, that is so true about us. So true. On political issues, we are often miles apart. He likes techno music. I prefer jazz. He hates listening to his choice of talk show. I hate listening to his choice of talk shows. He tolerates listening to my NPR shows. But with No Agenda, we find common ground, and so I guess you can say you are helping save our marriage of 27 years.
Aw.
So thanks for your enlightening show and for showing me the way to my soulmate and my life partner and truly the most patient man in the world. Then she's got a couple of requests, and I sent her a note back, and I said, I'll suggest this magical shape-shifting juice for sure at the end of the show.
Okay, we'll do that for sure.
Okay.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the tally. We have a tally now for the Battle of 1812. 12.
And the number?
We have 11 for 74-50, United States. In the Battle of 1812.
So here's the Canadians coming in. They're not going to, starting with Kurt Winkelmuller in Townsville, Australia. Come on, Commonwealth brothers, he says. Keep up the outstanding work. So the Australians have chimed in on the side of Canada.
Dang. Yeah,
no surprise.
Yeah, I have really chills.
Eric Hoff in Edmonton,
the Queen
Alberta,
told you to do that or something?
Well, somebody passed the word along, but he's the only one I see. Sir Clegg in Thornhill, Ontario. Eric Hoff, I mentioned, in Edmonton, Alberta. Vicky Kostecki in Maple, Ontario. Chris Terhart in Abbotsford, BC. Sir Norman of McDonough, Baronet, Woodstock, Ontario. William Brannick in Calgary. Mark Montgomery in Mississauga, Ontario. What is this? Orsolya, Orsolya, Sos, SOS in Milton, Ontario. Chalk went up for Team Canada, he says. Brian Edelin in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, says, I chose Canada by mistake. Please change my vote. I cannot believe I left my country down. Hopefully, but he's writing this before he hits the return button, so it goes to Canada. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Alan,
are you sure you want to pay?
Excuse.
Are you sure you want to pay?
This is a cover your ass memo.
Are you sure you want to pay?
Yeah, this is a cover your ass memo. Alan Witchin in Prince Rupert, British Columbia, 7115. And finally, Richard Bonk in Thornhill. I wish I had my bonk sound.
All right, let's go to the final score for episode 735
4, 5, 6,
The
7,
Battle
8,
of 1812.
They have a total of 12.
The Canadians have it.
So they are actually up by about, I think they beat by about 5 last show off to do that final calculation. But they're way up.
Yeah.
And we don't even use the multiplier with them.
Yeah,
I mean, we could probably multiply their votes times 3.
Come on, America. Y'all was sucking. It's probably in rural America.
Was 1812.
Onward.
Is that when the Beatles were popular?
Onward.
Nathaniel it's just a game. We're just having fun.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Friedman in Draper, USA, Draper, Utah, 69-69. Kevin Scott in
's-Hertogenbosch.
Oh, what?
's-Hertogenbosch.
's-Hertogenbosch.
Yeah.
It's easy for John. He can say Den Bosch instead. Den Bosch.
Yeah, why don't you say 's-Hertogenbosch?
Den Bosch.
Yeah.
And it'd be Kevin Scott.
No.
Samuel Shepard in Sheffield, Essex, UK, 55-10. Funny, none of the Brits gave in with the Canadians, I says.
Yeah, true.
Matt Seaver, Knoxville, Tennessee, double nickels on the dime. Eric Blackwell, double nickels on the dime. He's in Temecula, California. Also, GT Bird. Just refer to me as @GT_Bird. Longtime boner, needed de-douching. Also, Job Karma. We'll put that at the end for you. 10 years in corporate franchise operations. Graduated in May with college. PR advertising. Been turned down for over 100 jobs. Donation made possible from deposit return from rental property. I can no longer afford without a job. Will donate more once employment has been procured. Wow. $51.
Thank you.
Will he get the Job Karma? He'll take the Job Karma at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And then these are the following $50 donors. Stephen Milliken in Parts Unknown. Joni Perkins in Holland, Michigan. Shane Rosdilski, I think it's a sir. In Saskatoon, my favorite place. Brian Morton, Casper, Wyoming. Dustin Martin in Salem, Oregon. Don't inhale him. Eric Miller in Norwalk, Connecticut. Sir Intella Armor is back from Bend, Oregon, for $50. This is his make good for the last show. that he needed to put in to make it 355. It's a long story. There it is again.
All right.
And finally, Sir Alan Bean over here in Oakland, Baron of the Diamond, and Jay Kumar, who I believe is a knight, in Beverly, Massachusetts, nuts. And that concludes our donors over $50 for show 735. I want to remind people we do have a couple of shows coming up, and it would be nice to continue the battle royale between the USA and Canada, which is producing interesting results since the Canadians are winning handily if you consider the per capita vote.
And when do we conclude this battle royale? When do we have the final
On the
tally?
11th, when you come back.
On the
we're going to do a show on the 11th, and the totals will be tallied, and the winner will be determined.
I'm sorry?
It looks like it will be a Canada just as it was in 1812.
That's right.
Dvorak.org/NA.
With two make good. Simon Moon said happy birthday to Ingrid Jackson. That was her birthday was last Friday, and Sean Kelly also says happy birthday to Ingrid Jackson. So we kind of talked about that, and now it has all been fixed, I think. Now we say happy birthday to Michael Andrews from Josie Andrews. He's in Nevada City, California, turning 40 today. Vicky Avery says happy birthday to her husband Matt. Joni Perkins, happy birthday to her husband Patrick. Boy, the ladies are out in full force, everybody. Derek Charon will be celebrating tomorrow, and I say happy birthday to former boyfriend of Christina and former boyfriend of Adam, Dexter Mowat, turning 26 today. Happy birthday from all your pals here at the best podcast in the universe. It's your birthday, yeah. Good old Dexter. You remember Dexter?
Oh, yeah, he used to murder people on the Showtime show.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you about Dexter in a moment. But first, we have a knighting. Now, I don't think I got the full title in here. Trevor Baxter is our guy, our instant knight. He wanted to be knight. Oh, just Sir Scoops, Knight of the 33. See, I knew it.
Yeah, Sir Scoops.
Yeah, but Knight of the 33. Okay, it's in there. Okay, good. Just good. I brought this one along, which is kind of the mini blade. So if you can pick the big one, you got okay. Nice, perfect. Trevor Baxter, step on up, sir. You are an instant knight as of today for your contribution to the best podcast in the universe. The amount of $1,000 or more. We cannot thank you enough. And it is therefore that I'm very proud to pronounceicate the Sir Scoops Knight of the 33. And for you at the round table, we've got hookers and blow, rent boys and Chardonnay, cheap wine and chili dogs, raspberry pies and breakfast burritos, pork ribs and pale ale, bad science and perky breast, Johnny Walker Green Label, video games and vaporizers, sake and sushi, root beer and pepperoni pizza, malted barley and hops, rent boy, hot pants and booze, and of course, the mutton and meat. Almost threw a double rent boys and Chardonnay in there. Bah. All right, go to noagendanation.com/rings and get all your details in, and Eric will hook you up ASAP. So I talked with Dexter about his vape business.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be the king of vape.
So I thought that he was also in the devices, but he is in, of course, where you need to be, in the liquid, in the vape liquid business. And
well, that's interesting. So he's a specialist.
He's a specialist. Well, what he does primarily is he imports across the EU, primarily from, you're going to like this, the top brand right now comes from Bordeaux, France, and the top, and it's called Bordeaux, B-O-R-D capital O2, Bordeaux 2 is the title. And, the obviously the economics of it are pretty clear. You're just making, some liquid and selling it for, I think these 10 milliliters goes for $10 or something. So I've learned a couple things because I want to understand, how does this work? What is the actual vaping? What is it that makes this vapor? So you have this liquid, you have it in a little thing, and then you have a battery, and then you have an element or a coil, usually on the vape pens, as they call them. You have an element and it sits in some like Indian cotton, and then the cotton soaks up the goop, and then you're creating a short circuit that becomes warm, and then it starts to throw off vapor. It not only does...
How come it doesn't show... Okay. Why is that not called throwing off... Why doesn't it throw off smoke?
Because it is the exact same ingredient that does this as is used in so-called smoke machines for stage and TV.
Oh, okay.
And that ingredient...
Right, vapor machines, they create...
Correct. And that ingredient is propylene glycol.
propylene glycol is in all these vape things?
Yep, that's the main
you're
ingredient.
inhaling propylene glycol.
Yeah, glycol.
Is it glycol or glycol?
I don't know. Let's say I like glycol, but it could be glycol.
I don't believe it's glycol. It's glycol.
Glycol. Propylene glycol, yeah, which has been deemed safe by the FDA.
Well, it doesn't mean anything.
I'm just saying that it's been deemed safe. And the way they purchase this main ingredient is with a percentage of nicotine. Now, you can't buy, I think, over 90% pure nicotine. And what they do is they'll order 3, 9, or 18% nicotine, and the rest of that is going to be your propylene glycol, which by itself has no flavor, no taste. It's just bland. Although in a TV studio, there is a very distinct smell. I believe that's what I've witnessed. A very distinct type of smell to the vapor machines that they use. You can always kind of smell. It has a distinct kind of smell.
Yeah, I think, yes, I believe this would be true.
So what they do is, now this is the business, is creating all these flavors. And some are, so-called organics, and they're throwing stuff in there. And, of course, none of this is regulated. The real dangerous ingredient, which is mainly used to create a creamy type flavor, like a coffee flavor.
But before you continue, I want to read you from the ATSDR, the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the Toxic Substances Portal. This is propylene glycol.
Mm-hmm.
It is affected organ systems, dermal, renal, urinary system of kidneys, respiratory from the nose to the lungs, cancer classification none, chemical none. Propylene glycol is a synthetic liquid substance that absorbs water. It's also used to make polyester compounds, a base for de-icing solutions.
Well,
stuff that's spray on the wings.
Yeah, hold on. That's because what it does is it sucks up water and it holds on to it. So it's not de-icing fluid, but it is a part of the de-icing fluid mix.
Okay.
That was one of those big scares, like, oh, it's airplane de-icer liquid. So
okay, I'm in on this.
I'm not defending it. I'm just purely
propylene glycol is used by the chemical, food, and pharmaceutical industries as an antifreeze when leakage might lead to contact with food.
Yeah, same thing because it sucks up water.
The leakage is good. It means it's not toxic. In other words, instead of I think it's ethylene or methylene glycol or whatever is used in normal antifreeze, which is extremely poisonous.
That's not it.
You use this instead if it's going to come in contact with food, meaning that it won't kill you if it comes in contact with
Correct.
food. It is used to absorb water and maintain moisture in certain medicines, cosmetics, or food products. It's a solvent for food colors and flavors. And in the paint and plastic industries, propylene glycol is also used to create artificial smoke or fog used in firefighting training and in theatrical productions. Okay.
What could possibly go wrong?
No, there it is.
So here's the problem. This is one you want to look up. The stuff that they put in to create these flavors is diacetyl.
Diacetone?
Till. D-I-A-C-E-T-Y-L.
D-I-A-C-E-T-Y-L. Oh, okay.
Which is commonly known as the stuff that they create the I can't believe it's not butter flavor with.
Okay,
and movie popcorn. It's not butter.
It's a flavoring ingredient. It's butter flavoring.
This is not good if you inhale it.
The organic compost.
This is there have been people who worked in popcorn factories.
Yeah.
And they have really bad lung cancer, and they attribute it to diacetyl.
Well, I don't like artificial butter flavor. You can buy butter.
It's in everything. This diacetyl, which you can ingest, ingesting is okay, but inhaling it is not okay, according to the FDA.
Diacetyl rises naturally as a byproduct of fermentation, and that would probably, as a byproduct of fermentation, probably account for a certain buttery characteristic in certain wines, Chardonnay being an example. That would be my guess. I haven't read about the buttery thing, but that could be it. Even though I think they attribute that to the wood, which has really produced more of a vanilla taste. It's formed via the thiamine pyrophosphate mediated condensation of pyruvate and acetyl something COA.
Chat room comment: vaping is eugenics. I think
sour
we figured it out.
Sour cream. It shows up. It shows up in buttermilk. It shows up in cultured butter.
It's dynamite.
So it shows up anyway in the butter. It adds to the butter flavor. Like, okay, if you're going to get this stuff somehow in your diet, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, but if you look at some of the, as I said, the popcorn factories where they come in contact with this through inhaling, a lot of people dying from it. Not so good.
Well, I'd like to see some documentation for this.
Okay, well, it's in the show notes, so you can find it there.
So also, this is interesting.
But I was thinking we should have NA, No Agenda vape liquid, like the seed guy. You know he's going to do it. You know he's going to do it.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely going to do it. There's no doubt in my mind.
We can call it New World Order protection vape.
Again, in alcoholic beverages, I want to read this part. At low levels, diacetyl contributes to slipperiness to the feel in the alcoholic beverage in the mouth. So you get that smoothness. As levels increase, it imparts a buttery or butterscotch flavor. In some styles of beer, example, most beers produced in the British Isles, such as India Pale Ale, the presence of diacetyl can be acceptable or desirable at low or, in some cases, moderate levels.
Desirable.
In some other cases, it's considered a flaw.
Come on, work on the product, will you?
This stuff is all over the place.
Let's work on this product.
Okay.
The No Agenda vape liquid. E-liquid. No Agenda E-liquid. Yeah, well, Dexter will sell it for us. We got to come up with the product. So No Agenda E-liquid. And then we have to have some New World Order protectionary thing, you know, or like fights off GMOs. Fights off GMOs and Common Core.
I interrupted. Continue on this little story.
No, so that was it. Well, that was it.
Just those two chemicals?
Those are the main ingredients.
Flavor of Bordeaux?
No, it's just the brand Bordeaux. And it comes from the Bordeaux region, but it does not give you a This, by the way, is a fantastic No Agenda E-liquid. Tastes just like Bordeaux. Think about it, Johnny. Think about
Bordeaux, is these liquids all nicotine, or what is it?
Yeah, you can get them with zero nicotine.
What would be the point of that?
Well, just to vape, to look cool and not get high.
Cool and blow vapor out of your lungs?
Yeah. That's why we need this.
Did you ask Dexter about my complaint when I were discussing the mods that these guys are making, and they'd inhale and then there would be like a room full of vapor coming out of their mouth?
Dexter had a 6,500 milliampere battery as his base unit. He had this Aspire tank with the mouthpiece. It was a 50 caliber bullet could have fit through that thing. And he's putting his mouth on it. I mean, he's heating it up to 72.1 watts. And and he says, watch this, which normally, if a pilot says it, you want to be worried. But when Dexter says it, and he the whole room, and then he just blew it all out. The whole room was filled.
This brings me back to the question that he needs to be asked, which is, what a delivery mechanism that throws out that much from your lungs, what is retained?
Oh, all kinds of bits stick behind. And by the way, we have the branding already. I can't believe it's not Bordeaux. MTN Vortex, good one. I can't believe it's not Bordeaux E-liquid from No Agenda. It would taste just like Bordeaux. I'm telling you, someone's going to do wine flavors.
That'd be great. I think a wine flavor would be fantastic.
I think it's a distinct opportunity.
You can make it work.
I think we can do it. Oh, I needed to do Jobs Karma for everybody. I'm sorry, I forgot that altogether. Here we go.
Jobs Karma. Yep. Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
There we go. Alrighty then. What else do we have?
I'm still reading this. Okay, I'm going to stop. Go back to my clips. Here's a good, just an offbeat clip.
Mm-hmm.
Japan facts. Did you know any of this?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Shock to many people here. Japan's bullet train is famed for its safety. There hasn't been a single fatality in more than 50 years of operation. But sadly, Japan is no stranger to suicide. Once again last year, it had the highest rate in the world, and it is now the leading cause of death for men between the ages of 20 and 45.
Wow.
Rupert Wingfield-Hayes, BBC News, in Tokyo.
Of course, somebody lit themselves on fire on one of the high-speed bullet trains. One of the new ones.
Yeah.
And apparently some woman died because of I don't know what happened to her. But I didn't realize that everyone's always accusing the Swedes or the Nordic countries of being the most suicidal.
Right. Hey, I'm sorry.
This is news to me.
Are we actually alive?
For what?
Well, I'm surprised that we're alive.
Why?
Well, because of the leap second.
Oh, that's right. The leap second came and went.
Yeah, didn't the whole world melt?
I guess it didn't. In fact, I forgot all about it. And my computers still work.
Yeah. How can that work?
I don't know.
Not that it's... I don't think we need to do a whole tech news segment, but I did have a little thing that's happening in Chicago. Oh, man.
Well, let's do tech news.
You want to do tech news?
We're kind of running out of time, but let's do it.
Okay.
We can go long today.
You just made that, you said it's okay, we can go long?
Yeah, I went to affiliates.
Okay, let the affiliates know.
Yeah, we're going to go long. iPhone, schmyphone. The way I see it, the only good phone's a landline, and the phone should be made out of Bakelite.
That's right, everybody. Time for No Agenda Tech News, the only place where the tech horny are not welcome. We only do real tech news. News you can use for the blues on the cruise.
All right, let's start with my clip.
Yeah, go for it.
SpaceX rocket explodes.
This was a good one.
Out of that disastrous explosion of the SpaceX rocket, just minutes after liftoff, the unmanned ship was set to deliver from the space station. So the failure could put the space station's future mission at risk. ABC's David Curley has the latest from Washington. Good morning, David.
Morning, George. Not since the 1960s have we seen 3 missions in a row connected to the American space program fail. And this third failure could mean a delay in sending additional astronauts and even raises the possibility of evacuating the space station for the first time ever. That's if supplies don't arrive.
The third attempt to lift 2 tons of supplies was the job for SpaceX.
This vehicle on course, on track.
But just a little more than 2 minutes into the Falcon 9's launch, something goes terribly wrong. The entire rocket and its precious cargo explodes.
And we appear to have had a launch vehicle failure.
In that fiery debris that fell into the Atlantic Ocean, a long list of essential supplies. Most importantly, food, a replacement spacesuit, science projects, and computers. Among the 3 men in the space station waiting, American Scott Kelly, hoping to spend a year in space. He watched the explosion on a TV monitor and tweeted, "Space is hard." SpaceX, the private company owned by Elon Musk, has explained little, with Musk only tweeting there was overpressure in a liquid oxygen tank. The SpaceX failure follows a Russian cargo ship that got to space but then spun out of control 2 months ago, and a competitor whose rocket barely got off the launch pad before it exploded in October. With privatization, NASA expected some failures, but
I did think we'd lose them all in a 1-year time frame, but we have.
Elon!
There's a couple of things that were screwy about this report, or about the whole thing of these 3 rockets blowing up. The Orbital Sciences was the one they didn't mention. The company.
What is it? Wait a minute. What did they have to do with it?
Orbital Sciences is the one that blew up the rocket in
interesting.
October.
Interesting.
And they ended up having to merge with some arms dealer, and there's a new company now.
Cool.
But there's also a report, don't touch anything if there's debris,
Yeah,
especially because it might have rocket fuel on it.
And don't go near it with
kerosene.
And don't go near it with your cell phone.
Yeah, I think there's some radioactive thing going on because they don't want you touching anything. Because if they say liquid oxygen, that means it's a liquid oxygen kerosene rocket. I don't think there's anything more radical in the mix. I mean, it's possible.
Can we put that in our e-liquid?
Yes, you want the Bordeaux. the unstory, what nobody's talking about is the RD-180. Unbeknownst to me, I only caught this just casually. Unbeknownst to me, most of our rockets, including the Atlas rocket and many of the rockets that we use,
are Russian.
are Russian.
Yeah.
We use the Russian RD-180 rocket motor.
Yep.
And now, because of the sanctions, we've had to stop buying these motors.
There was a 3-hour conversation on the Hill about this very topic, where NASA was saying, you need to lift the sanctions so that we can buy rockets from Russia.
Yeah. Nobody's taught. No, I've never heard this on a mainstream news report.
Well, because that doesn't fit with the narrative of Putin
We're
being
beholden to the Russians for these rockets.
For our space program, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently they make the best engine. So there you have it. Now all these new companies are cropping up trying to make a good engine, kind of trying to clone the 180. But this is hopeless.
Can we just do another Operation Paperclip and go steal their scientists?
I don't think it's going to work anymore. There's some, it's an infrastructure issue. Russia apparently has all the necessary parts to make. I think a lot of it has to do with they have some technologies for example, welding tungsten that we don't have, and they never revealed them. There's certain things they can do that we can't do. And that's why we're buying their engines, because their engines are better than our engines. But now we can't buy their engines because of the bull crap going on.
It's just like we can't buy their nuclear reactors or the fuel that we need for the one fast reactor we have.
From us. This is ludicrous. They got these sanctions. It's all because of Snowden.
Yeah, there you go. He got it out. Nice.
Unbelievable. So that's I got that. I got one other clip.
Okay. Well, maybe if it's a good clip, let me do mine. It's kind of mediocre. Let me put mine in the middle. Yeah, mine's in the middle.
A so-called cloud tax takes effect in Chicago today. It's a 9% tax being applied to electronically delivered amusements, such as, how about Netflix, Spotify, and non-possessory computer leases, like Amazon Web Services. Netflix is already making arrangements to add the tax to the price it charges Chicago residents. So if, in fact, it's a 9% tax, the Netflix plan will cost $96 a year in Springfield, $104 a year if you drive 3 hours away north to Chicago. Now, this is an old tax in Chicago. In Chicago, you've always had to pay for stuff that you lease. The city has just decided to apply that to a cloud application. And some lawyers in here are already crying foul, saying this tax could be a violation of laws, including the Internet Tax Freedom Act, which prevents discrimination against services delivered over the Internet.
That's pretty radical.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, I guess you want to try and get an account out of state, or does it not matter? You still have to pay the tax even if it's an out-of-state account?
I have no idea. I don't know how they're even going to enforce it. That's the other thing. I'm reminded of some of the enforcements of the tax laws that
in California
make you have to collect tax out of state here and there for whatever reason, and they never collect it because there's no mechanism.
Yeah, I thought it was rather interesting.
Go into too many details.
All right, let's do your kicker clip.
All right, so I got LeGrasse. So they're going after LeGrasse Tyson, your friend.
DeGrasse Tyson.
Oh, DeGrasse. So DeGrasse Tyson has he likes to stretch the truth.
Oh, ooh, that hurts. Yeah.
So he says stuff that's bullcrap, and they're starting to document it. So there's this one clip. This was about something.
And who is that? Is there an anti-DeGrasse Tyson group that I can join?
Yes, it's cropped up.
Oh, nice.
They're just tired of this guy.
Is it a subreddit?
He's annoying. I don't know where it comes from. I just know it exists, and there's a couple of web pages that talk about the lying DeGrasse Tyson, LeGrasse. So but on this clip, they're trying to lead it in one direction. I found a lie in there that they didn't even point out, and it's just one of these casual things that people that are, I would say, pathological when they're, stretching it. They just throw stuff out like anyone who's raised a kid knows when a kid's about 12 or 13 years old, they make stuff up.
That's when you put them on the leash.
Throw it into the conversation. And you have to call them on it at an early age or they develop into being bullshit artists. So this is just a little subtlety in this. It's not a big deal, but I didn't notice anybody else picked it up, so I decided I'd pick it up. Here he is standing in front of an audience, walking around like as a stand-up comic.
Oh, is this his show? It's his show. He does a show,
He's going back and forth, and he's talking about 9/11, and he drops a little bomb in here, a little bullshit in here that I had to call him out on.
Let's back up for a moment. I live in Lower Manhattan. I live closer to Ground Zero than the height of the towers. And I was there September 11th. And these are frames from my camcorder outside my window The North Tower is on fire. If you look very carefully in that picture, you might not be able to see in the back row, but the South Tower had just been hit, and you can see some material punching forward. You see the flame, that's the fuel igniting. The fuel doesn't ignite instantly. It actually has to spread, get atomized, and then it ignites, and that's what's happening in that picture, and then the entire building is engulfed. To put this in context, you see the black building standing in front? That sleek black building? That building outside of the island of Manhattan would be the tallest building on the eastern seaboard. Okay? It's a very tall hotel. It's called the Millennium Hotel. And so the trade towers are huge.
Okay, the thing I didn't like was him saying that he was closer than the distance of the building, but of course they came down vertically and they didn't topple over. So his whole argument was, I would guess you'd say, specious, but that may not be what you're talking about.
No, I don't know what anybody would catch. It's just one of these little bullshit things you throw in when you're talking. You sound like you know something. Mm-hmm. He says, just to put things in context, look at this black building, and he's talking about the Millennium Hotel. It's the tallest building outside of Manhattan on the eastern seaboard. I don't know what he means by the eastern seaboard, because Manhattan's not really on it. I guess it could be. Philadelphia's got 2 buildings taller.
Oh, okay.
Atlanta's got 2 buildings taller, maybe 3 buildings taller. And Miami, which is definitely on the eastern seaboard, has got at least 2 buildings taller.
He lies.
So this is just bullshit.
He lies, I tell you. He lies.
Bullshit.
Elon.
WTC 7 won't go away.
I'd like to hear DeGrasse on that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up our tech news.
iPhone, schmyphone. The way I see it, the only good phone's a landline, and the phone should be made out of Bakelite.
Now, John, I'm not sure what if you have anything for the end, but I have a 2-clip, 2.5 clip kind of thing, which one of our producers put together. With time codes and links, and it was so good. I made it into a PDF and put it into the show notes. And it is. I did not start at the top today. I'm going to do it as the last bit. Agenda 21, global warming, climate change stuff. And I thought maybe you'd like that.
I'm glad you moved to the end. I got a cut here. I'll tell you what the clips are that are left. I got a little bit on the Indonesian plane crash, which is the funniest part of it.
Okay, we'll use that as the last clip. Good.
And
in case you hate mine, yeah.
You go, when you hear it, you go, what? Okay, that's interesting. I got the Iranian rundown that tells an update. We can use that. Let's
do that now. Let's do the Iranian rundown because I do want to know what's happening.
Okay, this will give you what's going on.
Talks on a nuclear deal between Iran and 6 world powers have been extended after the 2 sides failed to complete an agreement by a midnight deadline. Some believe the real deadline is July 9th, the last day for President Obama to present an agreement to Congress before a mandatory review period of 30 days jumps to 60 days. The outstanding differences include access to international inspectors and Iranian nuclear activity in the deal's final years. Negotiators are also trying to determine the timing of sanctions relief and the scope of Tehran's nuclear research. Speaking at the White House, President Obama said he's prepared to walk away from the talks if Iran fails to make sufficient concessions.
There's still some hard negotiations to take place, but ultimately this is going to be up to the Iranians to determine whether or not they meet the requirements that the international community has set forth. To be able to fairly and accurately and consistently assess whether or not they have foreclosed the possibility of obtaining a nuclear weapon.
I think they should let the MUFON guy do all the speaking about this. But President's boring. Get the guy with the wacky hair.
Yeah.
That would be much more fun.
Well, this thing is just a joke.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking there's also the Yemen to keep. So since we got 2 shows away, we should do the Yemen update. This will keep us up to snuff on that.
The UN is expected to add Yemen to the list of the world's worst humanitarian crises, raising the pressure on the Saudi government to halt a deadly military campaign and blockade. The news comes as
ratcheting up the pressure.
State officials warn parts of Yemen are on the brink of famine amid internal fighting and a continued Saudi-led air campaign. UN aid chief Stephen O'Brien says 80% of Yemen's 25 million people need aid, and the health system faces imminent collapse. The warning comes days after ceasefire talks between Yemen's warring factions broke down in Geneva. At the Security Council, UN Special Envoy Ismail Ahmed renewed calls for a humanitarian truce.
Both sides showed signs of constructive engagement. There is an emerging common ground upon which we can build to achieve an eventual ceasefire coupled with a withdrawal of combatants. While we pursue a sustainable long-time cessation of violence, I call on all relevant parties to agree without delay to a humanitarian truce, especially during the holy month of Ramadan. We should not forget that Yemeni are living under dire conditions, and it pains me to witness this ongoing suffering.
In some of Yemen's latest violence, 17 civilians were reportedly killed, dozens wounded today when Houthi rebels fired on the southern port city of Aden. More than 1,000 prisoners, including al-Qaeda members, also escaped a prison in the city of Taiz amidst clashes between rival forces.
That doesn't sound good.
Let a bunch of guys out of jail, 1,000 of them, and then the Gulf of Aden. This is the little part at the bottom of the country that can block the whole
straits,
movement of oil.
The whole straits, yeah. That's right when near the portal.
Yeah, right where the fish are.
The Stargate, yeah, the
Stargate that's under there.
Okay, this is interesting. Good, let's keep our eye on that.
Okay,
maybe they could just take 2 shows off as well, so we can just relax. That would be nice. All right, so 2 clips. This is put together by one of our producers. I should tell you who it is. He just did a really nice job, and I really appreciated it. Because he did it over multiple days while sitting in the car listening to NPR. That's Derek Sharon. Charon, maybe. Charron. And so there's a meeting right now. The United Nations is meeting in New York over the big Paris climate change hoo-ha that's going down in December. So now this is where they're trying to figure out what they want to do. And I think that's interesting to keep up with that, with kind of a little climate update. 2 clips from NPR over separate days, but it's a series that they are producing. And it gives us a lot of good information about what is not happening.
Well, the main purpose is to keep attention focused on the effort to get a serious global warming agreement, basically an
interesting, she says global warming and not climate change.
Agreement to rein in the emissions of greenhouse gases that are warming the planet. And this is going to be a final agreement negotiated later this year in Paris. And it would be the first time that both developing and developed countries make commitments to try to contain their greenhouse gas emissions. That's supposed to take effect in 2020. And what's happening now is not really negotiations, but just sort of trying to keep momentum going towards that goal.
But there have been negotiating sessions before this. Are the countries anywhere close to a deal?
Well, there's a lot of key issues unresolved. The last negotiation session was earlier this month, and there's a lot of...
Yeah, that little laugh of hers is pretty telling. She has a lot of key issues not resolved. Made that clear.
Key issues that are unresolved. At that session, they had this 90-page draft agreement that they were trying to sort of streamline and cut down into something more manageable. And at the end of about 11 days, they had cut it down to 85 pages instead of 90 pages.
Good work.
So there's a lot left to do. And they've said here today that they hope to have another draft agreement presented to the group at the end of July. So a lot of people are worried that the pace is rather slow.
But what are the major issues that the countries disagree on?
Well, there's some really big issues, like how will countries be held accountable for the promises they make about what they're going to do to try to control climate change? And how will those promises be reviewed and sort of make sure people actually do what they say they're going to?
You can already feel where this is going, right, John? This is going to be... I told you they were going to be measuring this in actual degrees, so it'll be about the 2 degrees, which is why she said global warming at the beginning of the report. And this is really all about just funneling our money to poor countries to have our economic hitmen implement whatever bull crap we're going to put in there, which will just be more infrastructure for us, obviously.
Another issue is finance. There have been pledges of, a goal of $100 billion a year by 2020 that would help.
That's some serious dough. Yeah. We should get in on that.
Developing countries both adapt to climate change and sort of shift to strategies that would mitigate emissions. So where's that money going to come from? Is it going to be public? Is it going to be public-private partnership?
Public.
Other issues are, what are the long-term goals? I mean, years ago, there was a goal set that they were going to try to limit warming to 2 degrees Celsius. Mm-hmm. But so far, people have been looking at the promises that countries have put forward as part of this negotiation. And they've said, what we see so far is not going to get us to that goal. So what should the long-term goals be?
As part of this process, countries have to come up with their own plans for what they're willing to do to fight climate change. How many countries have actually submitted plans to the UN by now?
Well, there's about 11 countries plus the European Union. And so places like the United States, Russia, and Canada have submitted their plans. They're still waiting for plans from big players like Brazil and China.
Wait a minute. I thought China, we had an agreement with them for 2020.
Oh, yeah. It was all that big deal that everyone had a big fuss about.
But they haven't actually...
There's something fishy about this Brazilian thing. Now that you brought that up, I should play the Brazil update. But I'll just say that Obama had a meeting with the head of Brazil, and then she said it's fine.
Let's play it. Let's play it.
Okay.
The U.S. and Brazil have announced new joint pledges on the use of renewable energy. President Obama unveiled the goals during a White House meeting with Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff.
Both our nations are setting new goals on clean energy. Beyond hydropower, the United States and Brazil will aim to increase the share of electricity we generate from renewable energy to 20% by the year 2030.
He's got that nose thing again.
And there's also that 2030 date.
That's right, because that's what the world does.
He's got the nose. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Brazil, but go on.
Ambitious goals, a near tripling for the United States and more than double Brazil's current output.
President Rousseff's visit to Washington was her first since canceling her trip last year following the disclosure of NSA spying. Leaks from Edward Snowden showed the U.S. spied on her personal communications as well as on Brazil's state-run oil company Petrobras. On Tuesday, Rousseff said she believes President Obama's assurances that the spying has stopped.
The change is particularly due to the fact that President Obama and the U.S. government have stated on several occasions that they would no longer engage in intrusive acts of spying on friendly countries. I believe President Obama. And furthermore, he told me that, if he needed, should he ever need non-public information about Brazil, he would just pick up the phone and call me.
Hey, bitch.
Very funny. Now, you know what obviously happened is that they cut her in. Wouldn't it be fun to know what your opponents are doing? We'll cut you in on the information.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So she's part of the scheme now.
Gotta love it.
Brazilians are being taken for a ride by this woman.
Yeah, you gotta love it, though. You gotta love it. So here's of course, now we have these talks, they got to do a lot of PR and promotion, get it all into the psyche of the people.
The UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, spoke before a huge meeting hall.
What do you think he said? What do you think he said?
Shut up.
Stop
laughing.
You
can never understand the guy. Ever.
Filled with high-level representatives from all around the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, in many ways, the stars are aligned. Don't laugh as never before.
He said major powers like the U.S. and China want ambitious action on climate change. The Pope has weighed in with moral arguments. And yet, he said the pace of the negotiations is slow.
It's like moving snail's pace. The key political issues, don't laugh, are still on the table. Why you are laughing?
He said there's just 10 more days of official negotiation sessions scheduled between now and the major summit in Paris at the end of the year. That summit is supposed to produce a final deal, one that will get all nations, rich and poor, to commit to the effort to fight climate change.
Now is when true leadership is needed.
What?
From the highest levels.
After his plea for urgency, the delegates heard actor Morgan Freeman narrating a short film called What's Possible.
This is a 3-minute video, which really has to be seen to be believed. But I do want to play it as the end of show clip because the audio is good enough.
Which showed on the hall's big screen. It described a future when, quote, the sea level will stop rising and species will stop dying.
The question is, how do we get to that day from where we are today?
Part of the answer is money. Christiana Figueres is the UN's climate chief.
Yeah, of course. And this video, John, like the polar bears, the burning buildings, the dripping oil in the water. I mean, everything is in here. And Morgan Freeman.
All the stereotypic memes.
Is God. Is the voice of God. I'm sorry.
The God guy, right?
He was, I'm sorry for you, but, he is the God.
There is no doubt that financing is the most crucial component.
Give me your money. Give me your money now. Just give me your money. Oh, horrible people.
Yet to be clarified.
The world's rich nations have said they'll give money to poorer ones, $100 billion a year by 2020, to help them adapt to climate change and to reduce their emissions.
We just need cash. I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
As country after country stood up to give a 5-minute speech, I stepped into the hallway to talk with Andrew Steer. He's from a nonprofit called the World Resources Institute, and he's been watching UN climate negotiations since 1992. I asked him, what's the point of a meeting like this one?
Well, look, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but we are approaching a very crucial stage.
He said this meeting let ministers listen to each other in public.
But more important, to talk to each other in private, to really think through just how ambitious we can be in Paris in December.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
23 years he's been watching this go on.
Yeah.
And then he says it's a marathon. It's not a marathon. Snail's pace.
Yeah. That's what Ban Ki-moon said.
All right, I think we got to wrap.
Yeah. So I'll play that as end of show clip. You okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
The Morgan Freeman bit?
Yeah.
It's just kooky. Kooky.
So make sure to put douchebag at the end of it.
Okay, no problem. We'll work on that. All righty. Johnny, thank you very much for your courage. Yep.
Well, thank you for your courage, Adam. And I understand now you're going to spend the next 7 days on a drunken stupor.
That is the idea, yes.
And I wish you well. I wish you well.
Thank you. And check in on me from time to time. Make sure I'm still alive.
I will do that.
So we have our special 200.7 episode coming up on Sunday with new wraparounds, new discussion, new deconstruction of the No Agenda Show, where we talk to our former selves and welcome ourselves from the future or something like that.
We have like 3 versions of ourselves on that show as it now stands, and we're not going to do it anymore.
Coming to you from the storage center of all Russian gas and oil, Rotterdam, the Netherlands. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it's hardly as exciting as that, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Sunday with our special 200.7 episode right here on No Agenda.
Okay, you know what?
Jed Johnson, Jed Johnson, Jed Johnson.
Today we can say, in no uncertain terms, that we've made our union a little more perfect. If there's a need for a rescue mission, when the world is threatened, when the world needs help, it calls on America. And that's the story.
One day, we will wake up to find that the energy that powers the alarm clock came from the breeze through the trees the night before. And we will go to work that morning riding the rays of the sun. It will light our cities and power our businesses. It will warm our homes and cool our workplaces. It will reduce sources of conflict and fuel our economies. It will connect us all. It won't scar the land or poison the seas. The food we eat will be good for our bodies and good for the planet. And the weather that day won't make us worry for tomorrow. There will be more jobs and less disease. The sea level will stop rising. And species will stop dying. The question is, how do we get to that day from where we are today? All 7.3 billion of us. We start by deciding that beyond our doubts and differences, such a day truly exists. And that is something each of us can do today. We can make today the day we stop thinking that the changes required to get there are impossible and beyond us, and start realizing that they are not only possible, but what the future requires of us. We must stop turning from the warnings of science and fear and denial, and instead turn toward the solutions and partnerships we need. We can make today the day we stop pointing at each other in blame, and instead chart a new course together. We have never faced a crisis this big, but we have never had a better opportunity to solve it. We have everything we need to wake up to a different kind of world. We need our leaders to be brave and their choices to be bold. They will either remember us as the generation that destroyed its home, or the one that finally came to respect it. We have every reason in the world to act. We can't wait until tomorrow. This is our only home. You can choose today to make a world of difference.
You will obey.
And her head is gone.
Adios, mofo.
Roll up for the magical shape-shifting Jews. Step right this way. Roll up for the shape-shifting Jews. Roll up, the magical shape-shifting Jews. Roll up, a little illustration. The magical shape-shifting Jews. Roll up, it's such an aggravation. The magical shape-shifting Jews. The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA